The first sign that my marriage was over was not when my wife removed our wedding ring. It was when she called another man's name. Lucian Dreven. Come forward. Princess Aurelia Volcrest's voice carried through the Hall of Crowns. For one heartbeat, no one moved. Then nearly 800 nobles, knights, foreign envoys, and court mages turned toward the enormous bronze doors behind me. I remained where I stood, at the foot of the royal dais, wearing black ceremonial armor still scratched from the Battle of Red Hollow, with Aurelia's silver wedding band around my finger, and with 12 years of crown fire burning beneath my skin. 3 weeks earlier, I had led 18,000 soldiers through the northern mountains and broken the Varkesian siege. 2 days earlier, the capital had welcomed me home beneath banners bearing Aurelia's golden phoenix. That morning, the royal servants had dressed me for what everyone believed would be my elevation from royal guardian to prince consort. My wife was expected to be formally named heir to the Volcrest throne. I was expected to stand beside her. Instead, the doors opened. A man walked into the hall wearing white armor. Lucian Dreven, the princess's first love. The man who had vanished 6 years ago. Whispers exploded around me. Dreven? I thought he was exiled. The Holy Order took him. Why is he here? Look at the princess. That last whisper mattered. So I looked. Aurelia was smiling. Not the careful diplomatic smile she gave ambassadors. Not the thin smile she wore during council meetings. A real smile. I remembered that smile. Once, years ago, she had smiled that way when I returned from my first campaign alive. I hadn't seen it directed at me in a very long time. Lucian walked past me. He didn't bow. He didn't even slow down. As he passed, his shoulder nearly touched mine. Kalen, he murmured. Lucian. His lips curved. You look tired. I've been fighting a war. So I heard. He climbed the 7 marble steps toward Aurelia. No one stopped him. That was when I understood this had been arranged long before I entered the hall. King Aldrich sat behind his daughter, both hands locked around the arms of his throne. To his right stood the royal council. Not one of them looked surprised. Lord Chancellor Morvain stared at the floor. High Magister Orin refused to meet my eyes. General Theron looked almost ashamed. Almost. I looked back at my wife. Aurelia. She finally looked at me. Her expression hardened. Kalen, this is neither the time nor the place. A laugh almost escaped me. 800 people had been invited. 12 noble houses were represented. 7 foreign delegations were watching. If this wasn't the place. Aurelia had chosen a strange location. Lucian reached her. Aurelia extended her hand. He took it. The hall went completely silent. Aurelia turned toward the assembled court. 6 years ago, Lucian Dreven left Valeria under circumstances that brought pain to both himself and this family. Someone behind me whispered. Circumstances? I knew the polite version. Lucian had challenged a duke's son to an illegal duel after being ordered to end his relationship with Aurelia. The duke's son nearly died. Lucian was stripped of his title and sent away. Aurelia had cried for 3 days. I had been the young border knight assigned to guard her chambers. I remembered bringing her food she never touched. I remembered sitting outside her door until dawn. Apparently, some memories meant more to one person than another. Aurelia continued. In his years away, Sir Lucian served the Holy Order with distinction. He defended the eastern sanctuaries, destroyed 3 corrupted relics, and rose to the rank of commander. Polite applause followed. Lucian smiled. I didn't. Therefore, Aurelia said, by authority of the crown and with the approval of His Majesty, I hereby restore Lucian Dreven's noble standing. The applause grew louder. And there is another matter. There it was. The thing everyone had been waiting for without knowing they were waiting for it. Aurelia looked directly at me. For 7 years, Sir Kalen Vare has served this kingdom as royal guardian. My title sounded strangely distant in her mouth. He has fought bravely. Bravely. I had killed the Ash Wyrm beneath Mount Caros. I had held Blackbridge for 4 days with 900 men against an army of 11,000. I had personally rebuilt the Western Ward network after the siege of Elmar. I had given Aurelia 6 territories, 3 alliances, and enough military victories to turn the king's least favored daughter into the most powerful candidate for succession. Bravely, Aurelia continued. However, the crown must look toward the future. A murmur moved through the hall. I finally spoke. You're replacing me. Aurelia's jaw tightened. Kalen, it's a simple question. You will allow me to finish. 7 years earlier. That tone could make an entire room obey. It had once worked on me too. Not today. Are you replacing me with him? Lucien turned slightly. His expression was carefully sympathetic. That irritated me more than arrogance would have. Aurelia inhaled slowly. Yes. There it was. One word. 7 years reduced to one word. The hall erupted. Aurelia raised her hand. Silence returned. Effective immediately. Lucien Dreven will assume the position of royal guardian. My hand rested against the pommel of my ceremonial sword. Not because I wanted to draw it. Because for the first time in years, I needed something solid beneath my fingers. Aurelia continued. The Black Citadel command will transfer to him. That was mine. The authority over the capital's defensive wards will transfer to him. I built half of them. The Guardian estates at Westmere, Ravenhill, and Thornfield will be returned to the crown and reassigned. My soldiers live there. The Royal Guardian's seat on the War Council will likewise pass to Sir Lucien. Lucien looked down at me from beside my wife. I wondered how long they had rehearsed this. Then Aurelia said the one thing that finally made several members of the court visibly recoil. And the Crownfire blessing will be reclaimed. I stared at her. Even Lucien's smile faded for a fraction of a second. Aurelia had told him. Of course she had. I looked at High Magister Orin. Is that possible? Orin swallowed. Theoretically. That's not what I asked. He hesitated. Yes. Aurelia stepped down one stair. The Crownfire was bestowed upon you when you became Royal Guardian. That was the official story. I had been 22. A minor noble from a ruined border house. Aurelia had married me against half the court's objections. A month later, during my investiture, the king himself placed his hand against my chest and poured golden fire into my body. I screamed until my throat bled. When I woke 3 days later, I could summon Crownfire. Everyone called it a miracle, a gift, proof that the royal bloodline had accepted me. I believed them. For 7 years. I looked at Aurelia. And you intend to give it to Lucien? Yes. Today? Yes. Here? A flicker of annoyance crossed her face. Would you prefer this done privately? No. That surprised her. I smiled for the first time. If you're going to take everything. Aurelia, at least have the courage to let everyone watch. Her expression froze. Lucien stepped forward. There is no need to make this ugly. I looked at him. You're wearing my replacement armor. Taking my command. Standing beside my wife. And waiting for someone to tear magic out of my body. His smile disappeared. I think we passed ugly some time ago. A few nobles looked away. Good. Let them be uncomfortable. Aurelia descended another step. You knew this arrangement was temporary. Our marriage? Her eyes flashed. I meant your position. Did I? You were never born to the royal guardian houses. No. I merely did the work. You were given an extraordinary opportunity. I laughed once. Quietly. Aurelia's cheeks reddened. You find this amusing? I find the timing impressive. What does that mean? 3 weeks after I won your war. Our war. No. I looked around the hall. Apparently not. Silence. Lucien's hand moved toward Aurelia's. She allowed him to take it. That hurt more than I expected. Not because he touched her. Because she didn't hesitate. Aurelia saw me looking. Something passed through her eyes. Guilt? Perhaps. It vanished quickly. Then she said, there is one final matter. Of course there was. I looked at my wedding ring. For some reason. I already knew. Aurelia did too. Kaelin, say it. This marriage can no longer continue. There were gasps this time. Real ones. General Theron actually stepped forward. Your Highness, enough. Aurelia didn't look at him. She looked only at me. I intend to petition the High Temple for dissolution before the end of the month. I slowly removed my hand from my sword. Why wait? Her brow furrowed. What? Why wait until the end of the month? Kaelin, don't. If you've already decided. Why pretend? This is not how I want it. How did you want it? My voice remained calm. That seemed to unsettle her more than anger would have. You invited half the continent. Today's ceremony was arranged months ago. And Lucien? Silence. When did he return? Aurelia said nothing. Lucien answered. 6 weeks ago. I looked at him. Then at her. 6 weeks. During those 6 weeks, I had been in the north. Sleeping in frozen trenches. Losing men every day. Sending Aurelia letters. She answered 3. 6 weeks. I nodded slowly. Something inside me became very quiet. Aurelia stepped down until only 2 stairs separated us. It isn't what you're thinking. That sentence almost made me laugh again. What am I thinking? That Lucien and I didn't ask. She stopped. I don't care. That was a lie, but it was becoming true very quickly. Lucien's face hardened. Aurelia looked wounded. Good. At least one of us should understand the feeling. I pulled the silver wedding ring from my finger. 7 years. The inside was engraved with 2 words. Until stars fall. Aurelia had chosen them. I held the ring between 2 fingers. Her gaze dropped to it. For the first time that evening, her composure cracked. Kaylin, you said the marriage is over. I said I intend to petition. You don't need to. I walked to the first stair. I placed the ring on the marble between us. A tiny sound. Metal against stone. It echoed louder in my head than 18,000 soldiers charging at Red Hollow. Aurelia stared at it. 7 years. She whispered. Yes. You can discard 7 years that easily? I stared at her. The absurdity was almost beautiful. You called another man forward. Her lips parted. You gave him my title. Silence. My command. Silence. My home. Nothing. My magic. Her face tightened. And then you ended our marriage. I pointed at the ring. But this is the part that feels too easy. No one in the hall moved. Aurelia's eyes shone. She blinked once, and the weakness disappeared. Princess again. Always the princess. Very well. 2 words. Colder than winter. She turned toward High Magister Orin. Prepare the extraction circle. Orin looked horrified. Your Highness, perhaps we should delay until now. Crownfire extraction has not been attempted in nearly 80 years. Can it be done? Yes. But then do it. Orin looked at me. Sir Kaylin? Apparently, I'm not Sir Kaylin anymore. Lord Vare. The process could be extremely painful. Lucien spoke from above. If he refuses, the crown has legal authority to compel compliance. I looked at him. You're very eager. The power belongs to the kingdom. Does it? Aurelia's eyes narrowed. What is that supposed to mean? Nothing. At the time, I truly meant it. I had no secret plan. No hidden army. No ancient prophecy tucked inside my armor. I believed the crown fire belonged to them. I believed they could take it. And after what Aurelia had done, I wanted them to. I stepped into the center of the extraction circle. Golden runes ignited around my boots. Orin and 6 royal mages took their positions. Remove your breastplate. I unfastened it. The black steel hit the floor. Beneath my shirt, golden lines already glowed across my chest. Crown fire. 7 years of it. 7 years of victories. 7 years of pain. 7 years beside Aurelia. Orin raised his staff. Once we begin, we cannot stop safely. I understand. Aurelia moved closer. Kaylin. I looked at her. She hesitated. Perhaps she expected me to beg. Perhaps she wanted one final argument so she could convince herself I was making this difficult. Instead, I asked one question. Are you certain? Her face became perfectly still. Lucien stood behind her. The court watched. Our entire marriage balanced on the next few seconds. Aurelia answered. I have never been more certain. I nodded. Then begin. Orin struck his staff against the floor. Pain exploded through my body. I had been stabbed, burned, poisoned twice. Once, an ogre broke 6 of my ribs with a single blow. None of it compared. The crown fire did not leave gently. It tore. Golden light ripped through my veins. I dropped to one knee. Someone screamed. It might have been Aurelia. I couldn't tell. The fire surged from my chest in burning ribbons. My hands slammed against the floor. Blood filled my mouth. Hold the circle. Orin shouted. One mage collapsed. Another screamed. Lucien stepped into the receiving sigil. Golden fire wrapped around him. His eyes widened. Power. My power. No. The crown's power. That was what they had always told me. Another wave tore through me. I warred. Images flashed behind my eyes. Aurelia at 19. Laughing beneath a summer tree. Aurelia on our wedding night. Aurelia holding my hand while crown fire first burned through me. Aurelia asleep against my shoulder during the siege of West Haven. Aurelia kissing me before I left for the north. Aurelia taking Lucien's hand. Something broke. Not my heart. Something deeper. The last golden flame left my body. Darkness swallowed me. For several seconds, I heard nothing. Then, a heartbeat. Slow. Heavy. Not weak. Powerful. Boom. The floor trembled. My eyes opened. The extraction circle had gone dark. Lucien stood across from me, surrounded by golden fire. The court applauded. I barely heard them, because something was moving inside me. Something that had been buried beneath the crown fire for 7 years. No. Longer. Much longer. Aurelia approached. She looked down at me. I was still kneeling. Blood ran from the corner of my mouth. For a moment, She looked almost frightened. Then Lucian stepped beside her. The fear vanished. Aurelia extended one hand. I thought she was going to help me stand. Instead, she said, "Everything the crown gave you has now been returned." I stared at her hand, then at her face. Something inside my chest laughed. Not metaphorically. I heard it. A voice. Ancient. Deep. Awake. At last. My breath stopped. Aurelia frowned. "Kaelin?" The voice came again. At last. The false crown is gone. Cold spread through my veins. Not the cold of weakness. The cold of midnight skies. Of stars. Of something vast and old. I looked down. Beneath the blood on my hand, a line of silver-black light appeared. Then another. They crawled across my skin like living runes. Orin dropped his staff. The sound echoed through the hall. "What?" he whispered. Aurelia turned. "What is it?" Orin was staring at me. His face had lost all color. "That isn't crown fire." Lucian's golden flames flickered. For the first time that night, fear entered his eyes. I slowly rose. My legs should have failed. They didn't. The pain disappeared. Every candle in the Hall of Crowns went out at once. 800 people gasped. Darkness. Then my eyes opened. Silver-black fire reflected across the polished marble. Aurelia took one involuntary step backward. "Kaelin?" I looked at her and smiled. "Good." She stared at me. "What?" I glanced at the abandoned wedding ring between us. "You took everything." The silver-black light spread farther across my hand. Now I finally get to find out what was mine. Far beneath the palace, something answered. A sound like stone grinding against stone rolled through the capital. No one in the Hall of Crowns understood what it meant. Neither did I. Not yet. But 3 miles away, beneath a tower that had stood dark and sealed for 300 years, an ancient silver flame ignited. And across its forgotten gates, words appeared in a language no living king could read. The blood remembers. By midnight, I owned almost nothing. It was surprisingly peaceful. My title was gone. My command was gone. 3 estates had been transferred to Lucian Dreven before I even left the palace. My royal guardian accounts had been frozen. My access to the war council revoked. The capital wards no longer recognized my official sigil. And somewhere behind the palace walls, my wife, former wife, I reminded myself, was probably explaining to 800 guests why the man she had publicly stripped of everything had walked away with silver fire burning beneath his skin. I hoped she found a convincing explanation. I certainly didn't have one. Rain fell over the capital as I walked alone through the Eastern District. No carriage, no escort, no royal cloak. I still wore the black trousers and boots from my ceremonial uniform, but the armor remained behind. Technically, it belonged to the royal guardian, which meant it belonged to Lucian now. The thought should have angered me. Instead, I laughed. A drunk merchant sheltering beneath an awning stared at me. I kept walking. My left hand had stopped glowing 10 minutes after I left the palace. That was the good news. The bad news was that my body felt like it was burning from the inside. Not crown fire. Crown fire had always been hot. This was different. Cold fire. Every few steps, my vision blurred. I made it another 2 streets before my knees nearly buckled. A hand caught my arm. "Lord Vare?" I turned. An elderly woman stood beneath a bakery awning. She recognized me. Then she noticed I was alone. Her expression changed. Everyone in the capital would know by morning. Perhaps they already knew. Court gossip moved faster than cavalry. "Are you hurt?" "No." Blood dripped from my nose. She stared at it. I wiped it away. "Minor disagreement with my wife." The woman looked toward the palace. "Minor?" Apparently she won. I continued walking. My destination stood near the old western wall. Their house. Calling it a house was generous. The building had belonged to my mother's family, or what I had been told was my mother's family, before debts consumed most of the property. After marrying Aurelia, I rarely visited. The palace became my home. Then Westmere. Then whichever battlefield required me. But I had never sold their house. Aurelia once asked why. I told her sentiment. The truth was simpler. My mother died there. It was the last place in the kingdom that felt entirely mine. The front gate was rusted. I pushed it open. The garden had become a jungle. One window was broken. A dead vine covered half the door. "Perfect," I muttered. The future king's discarded husband had returned to a house with a leaking roof. There was probably a bard somewhere already writing the song. I unlocked the door. Dust. Darkness. Silence. Home. I managed to light 3 candles before another wave of pain hit. This time I collapsed. My shoulder struck a table. Something shattered. I barely noticed. Silver-black light erupted beneath my shirt. I tore the fabric open. Runes covered my chest. Not random lines. Words. Symbols. A circle surrounded my heart. I touched it. The world disappeared. I stood beneath a black sky. Stars stretched from horizon to horizon. Thousands. Millions. No ground existed beneath my feet. Yet I did not fall. Ahead of me stood 12 enormous towers. Each tower floated in darkness. 11 were dead. One burned with silver flame. A figure stood before it. Tall. Armored. Faceless. Who are you? The figure didn't answer. Am I dead? Still nothing. That would be inconvenient. The figure lifted one hand. A sword appeared. Long black. Broken near the middle. I knew that sword. My mother's. I had kept it locked beneath the floorboards upstairs for 17 years. The figure pointed the broken blade at my chest. A voice entered my mind. Name yourself. Kalen Vare. Nothing happened. The figure remained motionless. I tried again. Kalen Vare. Son of Elara Vare. The stars flickered. The figure tilted its head. Wrong answer. I felt it. I don't know what you want. Name yourself. Anger rose. I just did. That is the name they gave your chains. The darkness vanished. I woke on the floor. My candles had gone out. Someone was pounding on the door. Kalen. I recognized the voice. Theron. I sat up. Every bone hurt. Kalen. Unless the house is burning. Stop shouting. The door opened. General Theron Vallis entered with his sword drawn. He found me sitting among broken furniture. He lowered the blade. You look terrible. You've always known how to comfort a man. He closed the door. Theron was 52. Broad-shouldered. Gray-haired. And responsible for teaching me most of the sword techniques that had kept me alive. He had also stood in the Hall of Crowns while Aurelia destroyed my life. I looked at him. You came quickly. I left immediately after the ceremony. You stayed long enough. His face tightened. I didn't know. About Lucien? No. My removal? No. The extraction? No. Our marriage? Kalen, that's 4 things you didn't know while standing 6 feet from the king. I am not your enemy. Tonight. That's a remarkably low standard. He accepted that. Theron removed his cloak. What happened after you left? I walked home. You know what I mean. I opened my shirt farther. He saw the markings. His face changed. Gods. Useful diagnosis. What are those? I was hoping you knew. No. Then we're both disappointed. He crouched. Do they hurt? Only when I breathe. Kalen. Yes. They hurt. Theron reached toward the markings. The moment his fingers came within an inch of my skin, silver fire erupted. He jumped backward. His sword came out. I raised an eyebrow. Planning to stab the magic? Habit. The fire vanished. Theron stared. That isn't crown fire. Orin said the same thing. Have you ever seen it before? No. Your mother? I froze. What about her? Theron hesitated. Too long. I stood. You know something. I know very little. Tonight, I have discovered my wife spent 6 weeks arranging my replacement while I was fighting her war. The king approved the removal of magic from my body. And something inside me started talking afterward. Theron's eyes narrowed. Talking? We'll return to that. I stepped closer. What do you know about my mother? Theron looked older suddenly. Elara was unusual. Excellent. We're making progress. She arrived at the northern border 30 years ago. I know. No. You know the story. I stopped. Theron continued. The official records say House Vare was an old miner family, and your mother inherited it. Yes. There was no House Vare before her. Silence. I stared at him. What? I checked years ago. Why? Because your mother once saved my life. That was new. Theron sat. It was before you were born. We were hunting raiders near the Glass Mountains. My unit was trapped in a ravine. His gaze drifted. There were 40 of us. More than 200 raiders. What did she do? She killed them. All 200? 217. I almost laughed. My mother couldn't lift a bucket without complaining about her back. Your mother lied very well. Silver light pulsed beneath my skin. Theron noticed. So she had magic. I don't know what she had. You watched her kill 200 men. With a sword. That sounds fairly conclusive. The sword never touched most of them. My humor disappeared. Theron looked toward the ceiling. Do you still have it? I followed his gaze. The broken sword. I went upstairs. The old bedroom was exactly as I remembered. Small bed. Wooden wardrobe. Dust-covered mirror. I knelt beside the eastern wall and pried loose 2 floorboards. A wrapped bundle remained beneath them. 17 years. I carried it downstairs. Theron unwrapped the cloth. The sword was black. No ornamentation. No royal crest. Broken halfway down the blade. Theron whispered something. What? I've seen that symbol. He pointed near the hilt. A tiny star surrounded by 12 lines. Where? He didn't answer. Theron. The old tower. What old tower? He looked at me. The one that lit tonight. I went still. What? You didn't hear? I've been occupied. 3 miles east of the palace. The sealed tower in the old quarter. I knew it. Everyone did. Children dared each other to touch its doors. Scholars argued about its origin. No one had entered it in centuries. It lit less than an hour after your extraction. My grip tightened around the sword. What kind of light? Theron didn't need to answer. I knew. Silver. I said. He nodded. A knock interrupted us. 3 sharp strikes. Theron drew his sword. Expecting anyone? My social calendar recently cleared. Another knock. I approached the door. Who is it? A young male voice answered. Message from the royal palace. Of course. I opened the door. A palace page stood in the rain. He looked about 16 and terrified. Lord Vare. Just Kaelin. He swallowed. Her Highness Princess Aurelia commands your presence at the palace at first bell tomorrow. I stared at him. Commands? The boy looked miserable. Those were the words. Theron muttered something behind me. I leaned against the doorframe. Why? The Capital Ward Network has experienced difficulties. How many? The page hesitated. How many? For sectors failed after midnight. Theron cursed. I wasn't surprised. I should have been. Instead, a strange certainty settled inside me. Tell Aurelia I'm unavailable. The boy's eyes widened. My lord, Kaelin. Sir. The princess said. I heard what she said. He looked ready to faint. I sighed. What's your name? Evan. Evan. This is not your problem. Repeat my words exactly. He nodded. Tell Princess Aurelia that Kaelin Vare no longer holds authority over the capital wards. Yes, sir. Tell her the royal guardian is responsible. The boy swallowed. And if she asks whether I will return? I looked toward the distant palace. Golden light glowed against the clouds. Somewhere inside, Lucien was wearing my armor, standing in my place, possibly sleeping in my rooms. Maybe even, I stopped that thought. Tell her to ask her new guardian. Evan bowed and hurried away. Theron waited until the door closed. That was unwise. So was marrying a princess. You know the wards better than anyone alive. Then replacing me was an interesting decision. People could die. That struck where he intended. I looked at him. Theron knew me too well. I'll inspect them if they become dangerous. Without telling Aurelia? Especially without telling Aurelia. Theron almost smiled. Then the sword in my hand moved. Not metaphorically. The broken blade vibrated. Both of us froze. Silver light appeared along the fractured edge. Theron stepped back. Kaelin. I see it. The broken half of the blade began to grow. Not metal. Light. Silver-black flame stretched from the break. 1 inch. 3. 6. A full blade formed. The entire room shook. The candles extinguished. The same voice from my vision whispered inside my skull. First seal broken. I nearly dropped the weapon. What did it say? Theron demanded. You heard it? No. Your face changed. I stared at the sword. First seal broken. Theron went pale. Seal? Before I could answer, bells began ringing. Not palace bells. Older. Deeper. The sound came from outside. Once. Twice. 3 times. Theron rushed to the window. I followed. Across the capital. Beyond rows of rooftops. The ancient tower blazed silver against the rainy sky. People were pouring into the streets. Then something impossible happened. A beam of light rose from the tower, straight into the clouds. The markings on my chest burned. I doubled over. Kaelin. Another vision hit me. Stone halls. Silver banners. Thousands of kneeling figures. A throne beneath 12 stars. A woman running through fire. My mother. Not the thin, laughing woman I remembered. She wore black armor. Blood covered her face. She held the same sword now burning in my hand. Someone shouted behind her. Elora. She turned. A man pushed an infant into her arms. Me. Go, what about you? The line must survive. They'll find us. Not if the crown fire binds him. My heart stopped. Crown fire. The vision shifted. My mother riding through snow. A royal carriage. King Aldrich. Much younger. Standing beside a group of mages. My mother screaming. You promised. The king answered. The boy will live. You're sealing his blood. We're saving the kingdom. You're afraid of him. The vision shattered. I hit the floor. Theron grabbed my shoulder. What happened? I couldn't breathe. The crown fire. Not a blessing. Not a gift. A seal. I remembered the investiture. King Aldrich's hand against my chest. The pain. 3 days unconscious. Aurelia beside my bed when I woke. You're one of us now. She had whispered. No, they had never made me one of them. They had made sure I couldn't become something else. Kaelin? I looked at Theron. What do you know about Etherean? He froze. That told me enough. What do you know? Where did you hear that name? My vision. Theron backed away. Impossible. I'm becoming very tired of that word. The Etherean dynasty ended 300 years ago. Did it? Yes. Then why did my mother know the king? Theron's expression changed. What did you see? I told him. Not everything. Enough. By the end, Theron had stopped interrupting. When I finished, he sat heavily. This is worse than I thought. That sentence is becoming a theme. Before he could answer, another sound rolled through the city. Not a bell. A roar. The silver tower flared. Then ancient symbols appeared across its exterior, hundreds of feet tall, visible from nearly every district. I couldn't read them. Theron couldn't either. But someone could. At the royal palace, High Magister Orin stood beneath those symbols with 23 scholars. Behind him, Princess Aurelia still wore her ceremonial gown. Lucian stood beside her surrounded by faint golden crown fire. What does it say? Aurelia demanded. Orin didn't answer. Magister. His hands trembled. Lucian stepped forward. Read it. Orin looked at the princess. Then at the tower. It is old Etheric. Aurelia's expression hardened. I know what language it is. Then you know it predates the Volcrest dynasty. Read it. Orin swallowed. The first line says, he stopped. Lucian grabbed his shoulder. What? Orin whispered. The air has awakened. Aurelia stared at the tower. What air? Orin continued translating. His face became whiter with every word. The first seal is broken. Lucian released him. For the first time since returning to the capital, his confidence vanished. Aurelia noticed. Lucian? He didn't answer. What's wrong? His eyes remained fixed on the silver tower. Nothing. It was the first lie he told her that night. Not the last. Far across the city, I stood in the ruins of my childhood home with my mother's restored sword in my hand. The silver markings on my body pulsed in rhythm with the tower. Once. Twice. 3 times. Then the ancient voice returned. Stronger now. 1 tower remembers. I tightened my grip. What does that mean? For the first time, it answered my question. 11 remain. The floor beneath me trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling. Theron stared. Kaelin? I raised my eyes. Something had changed. I could feel the capital. Not metaphorically. I could feel its magic. Every ward. Every barrier. Every old foundation beneath the streets. Golden crown fire covered the surface. But underneath it, silver. Everywhere. Buried. Waiting. Like veins beneath skin. I finally understood why the capital wards had begun failing. They weren't dying. They were changing allegiance. The royal palace had spent 300 years building its magic over something older. Something that had just recognized me. And somewhere inside that palace, Aurelia still believed she had taken my power away. I looked toward the distant golden towers. Then at the silver flame burning along my mother's sword. For 7 years, I had believed the crown gave me everything. A title, power, status, a place beside a princess. Tonight, Aurelia had stripped all of it away. And for the first time in my life, something ancient beneath those gifts had begun to breathe. I remembered the final words from my vision. The line must survive. My mother's name had not been Ella Revere. I knew that now. The question was what her real name had been, and why a king had been so afraid of her infant son that he had buried his blood beneath crown fire. Outside, the ancient tower rang one final time. Silver lights swept across the clouds. Then words appeared inside my mind. Not spoken by the voice. Written in fire. Kaelin. A pause. The second name burned brighter. Etherean. I stared into the darkness. And somewhere far away, in a kingdom beyond the northern mountains, a young queen woke from a dead sleep. Queen Lysandra Vane crossed barefoot to the window of her chamber. Her guards rushed inside. Your Majesty? She ignored them. Beyond the mountains, a silver star had appeared in the southern sky. A star that had not burned for 300 years. Lysandra stared at it, then slowly dropped to one knee. Her captain looked horrified. Your Majesty, what are you doing? She smiled. The waiting is over. For whom? Lysandra raised her eyes toward the silver star. For the last son of Etherian. By sunrise, the entire capital knew three things. The ancient tower had awakened. My name had appeared in silver fire. And Princess Aurelia's new royal guardian had failed to control the eastern wards. By noon, there was a fourth piece of gossip. He had failed again. I learned that from a fruit seller. Fourth district lost its barrier at dawn, the old man said while weighing apples. Then it came back silver. I looked up. Silver? Like moonlight. He leaned closer. Everyone says it's because Lord Vare cursed the palace. I glanced at the basket in my hand. Sounds dramatic. You haven't heard the best part. There is a best part. The new guardian tried to fix it. And the whole ward shut down. I almost smiled. Almost. The old man finally looked at my face properly. His expression changed. Oh, yes. You're a yes. He stared at me. Then at the apples. Then back at me. You still paying? I laughed for the first time in several days. Yes. Good. He handed me the basket. Then I don't care who your wife left you for. Former wife. Even better. I walked away with 6 apples, 2 loaves of bread, and the first normal conversation I had experienced since the royal ascension ceremony. It lasted less than 3 minutes. The moment I turned onto Vare Street, I saw 5 black-armored royal riders waiting outside my house. Theron stood beside them. He looked annoyed. I looked at the riders. They looked uncomfortable. Morning, I said. No one answered. I pushed open the gate. The tallest rider stepped forward. Lord Vare. Just Kaelin. By order of Her Highness Princess Aurelia, you are required to present yourself at the royal palace. Required? His jaw tightened. Yes. I handed Theron the bread. Hold this. He took it. The rider continued. The matter concerns the Capital Ward Network. I assumed it did. Then you understand the urgency. I understand that there is a new royal guardian responsible for it. The man's eyes flicked toward the palace in the distance. That is precisely the difficulty. I looked at him. Lucien can't fix it. Silence. Theron bit into an apple. The rider's expression hardened. Sir Lucien is still familiarizing himself with the ward structure. Familiarizing himself? Lord Vare, Kaelin. He inhaled. Kaelin, the princess requests your expertise. That is not what you said. The rider blinked. You said she ordered me to appear. Another silence. Theron looked deeply interested in his apple. I smiled. Tell Aurelia that if she wants my expertise, she may ask for it. The rider stared. She is the princess, and I am unemployed. His mouth opened. Nothing came out. I took the bread back from Theron. Good morning. I entered the house. Theron followed. The riders remained outside for nearly 10 minutes. Eventually, they left. Theron closed the door. You enjoy this far too much. I spent 7 years being ordered into battle. You usually enjoyed that too. Battles made more sense. I set the basket on the table. My mother's sword lay nearby. Restored. Whole. Black metal with a faint silver line running through its center. I still did not understand how a broken blade had repaired itself, or why the first ancient tower had answered me, or why the name Etherian felt both foreign and familiar every time I thought it. But since waking, I had discovered something else. The crown fire was gone. Completely. And I was stronger. Not in any way I understood. I couldn't throw silver fire across a room. I couldn't summon lightning. I couldn't do half of what crown fire once allowed. But I could feel magic. Not just my own. Everything. The old ward beneath Fair House. The dead enchantment in a cracked mirror upstairs. The tiny preservation charm woven into the fruit seller's paper wrapping. Even the capital itself. It was there beneath the streets like a sleeping beast. Silver lines. Thousands of them. Ancient. Connected. And all of them seemed to lead toward the awakened tower. Theron noticed me staring toward the wall. You're doing it again. What? Listening. I don't hear anything. You look like you do. I rested a hand on the table. It's difficult to explain. Try. I can feel the city's magic. He frowned. All mages can feel ambient magic. No. I shook my head. Not like this. I pointed downward. There are lines beneath us. Ward lines? Older. How old? I don't know. Can you control them? No. That answer bothered me. Not because I expected power. Because some part of me felt I should know how. A distant pulse moved beneath the floor. I closed my eyes. There. A line beneath Fair Street. Another beneath the river. Another leading toward the palace. Then, a violent break. My eyes opened. Something just happened. Theron straightened. Where? Northwestern District. A bell began ringing outside. Then another. Warning bells. Theron cursed. We ran to the window. Across the rooftops. A golden dome protecting the northwestern quarter flickered. Once. Twice. Then disappeared. People screamed in the streets. A moment later, black clouds began gathering above the exposed district. Not weather. Residual magic. The capital's defensive wards didn't simply keep enemies out. They stabilized the ley currents beneath the city. If enough wards failed, magical storms could form. Theron looked at me. People could die. I know. I grabbed my sword. He followed me outside. We had crossed only half the street when a royal messenger came racing around the corner. His horse nearly slipped. Lord Vare. I recognized him. Evan, the terrified page from the night before. He jumped down. Thank the gods. What happened? Northwestern ward collapsed. I noticed. Magister Orin says the ley pressure is climbing. How long? He said 20 minutes before the first surge. Theron swore. I looked toward the darkening sky. Where's Lucien? Evan hesitated. At the ward nexus. Then why are you here? The princess sent me. Did she ask? Evan looked miserable. I waited. Finally, she said you are to come immediately. I turned away. Theron grabbed my arm. Kaelin. I knew. This wasn't about Aurelia. It wasn't about Lucien. People lived under that sky. Children. Families. Merchants who had never attended a royal ceremony and didn't care which man stood beside the princess. I exhaled. Fine. Evan sagged with relief. But I'm not going to the palace. Sir, take me directly to the ward nexus. We reached the northwestern district in 9 minutes. Chaos greeted us. Hundreds of civilians crowded the streets while city wardens struggled to clear the area. Above them, black-purple energy twisted through the clouds. The central ward nexus stood in a stone plaza. 12 crystal pylons surrounded a circular platform. Lucien stood in the center. Golden crown fire blazed around him. He looked magnificent and completely useless. Again, High Magister Orin shouted. Lucien drove both hands toward the nexus. Golden flames poured into the central crystal. For 1 second, the 12 pylons lit. Then every one of them exploded outward. A mage screamed. Lucien stumbled. The black clouds thickened. Orin saw me. His face transformed. Kaelin, Lucien turned. His expression darkened immediately. What is he doing here? Saving your district. Theron said. Lucien glared. This is under control. A bolt of black energy struck a nearby rooftop. Stone erupted. 3 people screamed and ducked. I looked at Lucien. Clearly, Aurelia stood near the nexus beneath a protective canopy. She wore dark riding clothes rather than court dress. Her hair was tied back. She looked exhausted. For one moment, seeing her hit me with an old instinct. Go to her. Ask whether she was hurt. Stand between her and danger. 7 years of habit did not disappear in 2 nights. Then Lucien moved beside her. The instinct died. Aurelia looked at me. You came. People live here. Her expression tightened. I knew you would. That annoyed me. You knew nothing. Kaelin, this isn't the time. You say that often. Orin rushed toward us. The ley pressure is nearly critical. How long? 8 minutes. Show me the nexus record. He handed me a crystal tablet. I scanned the runes. My stomach sank. Lucien forced crown fire into the primary channel? Orin winced. We believed, you believed wrong. Lucien stepped forward. Careful. I looked at him. You overloaded the 3rd, 5th, and 7th anchors. I followed the Guardian protocols. No. I held up the tablet. You followed the simplified protocols. His eyes narrowed. There is no distinction. There is if you wrote the actual network. Silence. Aurelia looked at me. You built these wards. I rebuilt them. Then repair them. There it was again. Not a request. An order. I looked at her. Say please. Her expression froze. What? Say please. Lucien gave a sharp laugh. This is childish. I ignored him. Aurelia's face hardened. There are thousands of lives at risk. Yes. And you're using that to humiliate me? No. I stepped closer. You humiliated yourself when you removed the person who understood the system and replaced him with someone who didn't. Lucien's hand moved toward his sword. Theron's did too. Aurelia noticed. Enough. Her gaze stayed on me. Please. The word was quiet. But she said it. I turned to Orin. Clear the platform. Lucien stepped in front of me. I am Royal Guardian. Congratulations. This is my responsibility. Then fix it. His jaw clenched. The sky cracked. A wave of black energy rolled outward. The crowd screamed. Lucien looked up, then stepped aside. I entered the nexus. The moment my boot touched the central circle, something changed. The stone vibrated. Not golden. Silver. Orin gasped. Aurelia went still. Lucian whispered. No. Thin silver lines appeared beneath my feet. They spread through the circular platform, into the 12 pylons. The same ancient network I had been feeling beneath the city. I had never seen it before, yet I knew where each line went. Not intellectually. Instinctively. Like remembering a road from childhood. I crouched and placed my hand against the stone. Cold power surged up my arm. The ancient voice returned. Broken imitation. I almost laughed. Helpful. Orin stared. What? Nothing. The voice continued. They built their flame over our bones. I closed my eyes. The Golden Ward network appeared in my mind, layered over something enormous. The Volcrest mages had not built the capital system from nothing. They had attached their wards to an older Etherean structure. They had been using ancient foundations they barely understood. That was why I had always been unusually good at repairing them. Not because I was brilliant, because some part of my blood recognized the architecture. I found the broken channels. Lucian's crownfire had overloaded them because the system no longer wanted crownfire. It wanted me. That thought was terrifying. I opened my eyes. Orin. Yes? Disconnect the crownfire anchors. He stared. What? All 12. That would completely shut down the ward. It's already shut down. Lucian stepped forward. Absolutely not. I ignored him. Orin hesitated. I looked at the black storm. For minutes. That decided him. Disconnect. Royal mages moved. One by one, golden crystals were removed from the pylons. The plaza darkened. Aurelia watched silently. The last crownfire anchor came free. The entire ward nexus died. Lucian smiled coldly. You've killed it. No. Silver fire erupted beneath my palm. The world went silent. Every ancient line under the plaza ignited. People gasped. Silver light raced away through the streets. Across walls. Beneath buildings. Through buried channels no royal map recorded. The 12 pylons relit. Not gold. Silver. The storm above us stopped moving, then collapsed inward. A massive bolt of energy fell directly toward the nexus. Aurelia shouted my name. I lifted one hand. I had no idea why. The silver network answered. A shield appeared above the district. Not a dome. A vast geometric pattern of 12 stars. The black energy struck it. For one terrible second, the entire sky turned white. Then the storm vanished. Silence. Absolute silence. I remained kneeling. Silver fire covered my arm. Thousands of people stared. Orin was the first to speak. Impossible. I stood. The shield remained. Lucian's face had gone pale. Aurelia stared upward. That is not the capital ward. No. Orin whispered. What is it? He looked at me. I don't know. The ancient voice inside me answered. Ours. I said nothing. Then the ward pulsed. Across the district. Every royal phoenix crest carved into the pylons cracked. Silver lines replaced them. 12 pointed stars appeared. The symbol from my mother's sword. Lucian stepped toward me. What did you do? I repaired your mistake. You changed the network. I didn't. You expect anyone to believe that? I touched the floor. The crowd had begun murmuring. Royal soldiers exchanged uncertain looks. Lucian's humiliation was growing by the second. Aurelia knew it. She stepped between us. Everyone clear the plaza. No one moved at first. Her voice sharpened. Now. The soldiers obeyed. Slowly. The civilians were pushed back. Orin remained. Theron remained. So did I. Aurelia waited until the plaza emptied. Then she looked at me. What is happening? I don't know. Stop saying that. It happens to be true. You knew exactly how to activate that shield. No. You placed your hand on the nexus, and the entire district answered you. I noticed. Lucian sneered. You've been planning this. I turned toward him. Planning what? To sabotage the wards. To make me fail. You don't need my help. His hand shot to my collar. Theron's sword appeared instantly. So did mine. Not drawn. The blade simply moved. Silver fire flared. Lucian stopped. The tip of my mother's sword rested against his throat. I hadn't pulled it free. One moment it had been sheathed. The next it was in my hand. Everyone noticed. Including me. Lucian's eyes widened. I lowered the weapon. Don't touch me again. Aurelia stared at the sword. Where did you get that? My mother. Orin stepped closer. His face changed. The symbol. Aurelia looked at him. What? Orin pointed toward the star engraved near the hilt. That is the same mark on the tower. Lucian went very still. I saw it. Tiny. A flicker. Recognition. You know it. I said. He looked at me. What? That symbol. No. You reacted. You imagined too much. Maybe. But Lucian had been afraid when the ancient tower awakened. Now he was afraid again. Aurelia noticed too. Lucian? He turned to her. Ancient symbols are not my specialty. Lie. I didn't know how I knew. But it was a lie. Aurelia looked between us. Then back at me. Come to the palace. No. Her eyes hardened. This is bigger than our personal conflict. You're right. Then act like it. I almost admired the audacity. You stripped me of my authority. Yes. You gave it to him. Yes. You removed my access to the palace archives. Silence. You froze my accounts. Silence. You took my estates. Her jaw tightened. And now you want me to return because your replacement failed. This concerns the kingdom. Then make me a formal consultant. Lucian laughed. You're bargaining? Yes. With the crown? With people who need something from me. Aurelia stared. I continued. Full access to all ward records. Oren looked relieved. Granted. Aurelia turned sharply. You do not have authority to. I do over the archive. Oren said. I continued. My family records. The plaza went quiet. Aurelia's face changed. Why? Because someone lied about my mother. Her eyes flickered. That was all I needed. You know. No. Aurelia. I know nothing about your mother beyond what you told me. Technically careful. Politically trained. Not quite an answer. I took a step toward her. The night crown fire was put into me. Why did your father insist on performing the ritual himself? She stared. Because you were becoming royal guardian. Why was I unconscious for 3 days? Because the ritual was dangerous. Why did no other guardian experience that? Her face lost color. She had never asked. I could see it. That hurt in a different way. 7 years. She slept beside me. She knew the scars on my chest. She had never asked why my initiation was unlike every other royal guardian's. Lucian stepped in. This is absurd. I looked at Aurelia. My records. She was silent for several seconds. Then, granted. Written authorization. Her eyes flashed. You don't trust my word? I almost smiled. No. That landed. Good. Aurelia turned away. Prepare it. Oren bowed. I started to leave. Kaelin. I stopped. She stood behind me. For 1 second. Her voice sounded like the woman I used to know. Was the silver fire inside you before the extraction? I looked over my shoulder. I don't know. You truly don't? No. She swallowed. If I had known, I turned fully. If you had known what? Her words died. If she had known I possessed more powerful magic, would she have kept me? Was that supposed to comfort me? I shook my head. Don't answer. I walked away. Theron followed. Behind us. Lucian said something low to Aurelia. I didn't hear it. But the Silver Ward did. That was new. The ancient network carried sound. A whisper reached me from 30 paces away. Lucian's voice. He is dangerous now. Aurelia answered. He was dangerous before. No. Before. He was controlled. I stopped walking. Theron glanced at me. What? I raised one hand. Behind us. Aurelia said. Controlled by what? Lucian paused. Too long. Then, by loyalty. My blood went cold. He had almost said something else. I looked back. Lucian was watching me. This time, neither of us pretended. He knew. Something. Maybe not everything. But enough. And now he knew that I knew he was hiding it. That night, a second tower awakened. It happened exactly at midnight. The first stood in the old quarter. The second was 20 miles outside the capital, buried beneath the ruins of an abandoned fortress. When its silver flame rose into the sky, the palace bells rang for nearly an hour. The next morning, a royal scholar arrived at Vare House with a sealed chest. Inside were 6 documents, all related to my mother. 5 were obvious forgeries. The 6th contained only one line. Elora Vare, identity established by royal decree. Year 718. No birth record. No family line. No childhood. No house Vare before the decree. A woman had appeared from nowhere. The king gave her a name. Then 17 years later, he placed crown fire inside her son. I stared at the document until Theron entered. There's more. What? He handed me a report. The second tower. I took it. What about it? The inscription changed. I looked up. What does it say? Theron hesitated. To remember. My grip tightened. Anything else? Yes. He placed another page on the table. A translation. For words. 10 wait for their king. I stared at the ink. King. Not heir. Not guardian. King. A knock sounded. Theron reached for his sword. I opened the door. High Magister Orin stood outside. He looked as though he had not slept. Kaelin, what happened now? Lucian attempted to access the royal vault. And it rejected him. That's unfortunate. It also rejected Princess Aurelia. That got my attention. Orin looked terrified. The vault has recognized Volcrest blood for nearly 300 years. Apparently, it changed its mind. That is not possible. I sighed. You people use that word too often. He handed me a black parchment. Silver writing appeared across it. I read the first line, then stopped. What is this? It appeared on the vault doors. The words were in Old Etheric, but I could read them. Yesterday, I couldn't. Now the meaning simply entered my mind. Property of the Etherian crown. Below that, unauthorized blood denied. I looked at Orin. Does Aurelia know? Yes. How did she react? He looked uncomfortable. She wants you at the palace. I laughed. Orin did not. This time she asked. That stopped me. What exactly did she say? He cleared his throat. Tell Kaelin I am requesting his presence. Theron grinned. I looked at the two awakened towers visible beyond the city, then at my mother's sword. Progress. The palace felt different when I returned. Not because anything had changed physically, because no one knew how to treat me. 2 nights ago, I had entered as royal guardian, then left publicly stripped of rank. Now guards bowed anyway. Not deeply, but they bowed. Rumors were faster than law. Aurelia waited in the lower archive chamber. Lucian was not there. That surprised me. Orin led me inside. Aurelia stood beside a stone table. Several ancient maps were spread across it. She wore no crown. For the first time in years, we were alone without servants, officers, or advisors. I stopped at the opposite side of the table. You asked. Her eyes lifted. Yes. A strange silence followed. 7 years of marriage trained people into patterns. I knew when Aurelia was angry, when she was scared, when she was preparing a lie, when she was deciding whether vulnerability would cost too much. She looked frightened. What happened to the vault? I asked. It rejected me. I heard. It has never rejected a Volcrest. Maybe the vault has standards. Kaelin. What? I am trying. To do what? Speak to you. You had 7 years. She flinched. I hated that part of me still noticed. Aurelia looked down at the maps. The second tower appeared here. She pointed. An abandoned fortress. Yes. The first appeared in the old quarter. Yes. These are not random locations. What are they? She turned one map around. My chest tightened. 12 markings surrounded the capital and extended across the kingdom. A ring. 12 towers. Where did you get this? The sealed royal archive. I looked at her. You had a map. No one knew what it represented. Someone did. Yes. Who? My grandfather. Aurelia placed a journal on the table. His private notes. I opened it. The first page showed the same 12-pointed star on my sword. Beneath it were 5 words. Never allow the line to return. I looked up. Aurelia had gone pale. I did not know. I believed her. That was almost worse. She continued. My grandfather wrote that the Volcrest throne depends upon the 12 anchors remaining dormant. Towers. He calls them anchors. Why? I don't know. You say that often now. Her eyes hardened. Do you want answers or another argument? Answers. Then read. I did. Page after page. Fragments. Warnings. References to Etherian. The old dynasty. The bloodline. The Crownfire seal. My hand stopped. I read the phrase again. Crownfire seal. Not blessing. Seal. Aurelia watched me. You saw it. I looked at her. You knew? Not until this morning. I believed that too. Something ugly twisted inside my chest. Not rage. Disappointment. You stood beside me during the ritual. I was 21. So was I? I trusted my father. So did I. Silence. Aurelia looked away. I thought they were giving you power. So did I? What if they were afraid of what would happen without it? I smiled without humor. You mean what is happening now? Her gaze met mine. Yes. Before I could answer, the archive doors opened. Lucian entered. He stopped when he saw us. Aurelia's expression changed instantly. Closed. Royal. Why are you here? Because the Northern Ward rejected me again. His gaze moved to the journal. What are you reading? I closed it. Family history. He looked at my hand on the cover. His face barely changed. Barely. Interesting. You've read it. No. Another lie. Aurelia looked between us. What are you talking about? Lucian ignored her. He looked at me. You should be careful with old stories. Why? Dead kingdoms are dead for reasons. Silver fire flickered across my fingers. His eyes followed it. I smiled, and yet mine seems to be waking up. For the first time, Lucien's composure cracked. Only for an instant. But I saw it. So did Aurelia. Before she could speak, horns sounded outside. Not warning horns. Arrival horns. Long ceremonial. Orin rushed to the window. His face changed. What? Aurelia stepped toward him. He looked back. The Valorian delegation. Aurelia frowned. They were not expected until next week. They have arrived. Who leads them? Orin swallowed. Queen Lysandra herself. Aurelia went completely still. Valoria. The Northern Magical Empire. The strongest independent kingdom beyond Valeria's borders. Rich in star crystal. Old. Proud. Nearly impossible to negotiate with. Aurelia had spent 2 years preparing a trade alliance with them. If Queen Lysandra had come personally, it mattered. Very much. Lucien adjusted his cloak. We should receive her. Aurelia nodded. Then looked at me. You will attend the banquet. Not a request. I raised an eyebrow. She caught herself. Then said, I would like you to attend. I almost refused. Then I remembered the silver star in my vision. The kneeling woman I had never met. And the strange message Theron had received from a northern contact that morning. Valoria's queen departed the moment the first tower woke. I closed the journal. Fine. Lucien's expression darkened. Aurelia looked relieved. None of us understood what was coming. But somewhere beyond the palace walls, 12 black carriages decorated with silver stars entered the capital. And inside the first carriage, Queen Lysandra Vane held a 300-year-old portrait. A portrait of a dead Etherean prince. The man in the painting had my eyes. Queen Lysandra arrived in Valeria like a declaration of war. 12 black carriages. 40 mounted spell knights. 3 archmages. No musicians. No banners beyond the silver star of Valoria. The Northern Kingdom did not announce power. It expected people to recognize it. By sunset, the entire royal palace had transformed. Servants rushed through halls carrying silver tableware. Diplomats were dragged from residences. The Royal Council assembled an emergency trade briefing. Aurelia changed gowns 3 times. Lucien had my old ceremonial armor polished until the black gold plates reflected candlelight. And I considered not going. Theron stood in the doorway of Vare House while I fastened the collar of a plain black coat. You should wear armor. No. Why? Because I'm attending dinner. Not invading Valoria. You've attended dinners that were more dangerous. True. He looked at my coat. No crest? I don't have one anymore. You have the star. He meant the symbol on my mother's sword. I shook my head. I don't know what it means. You know enough. No. I know that 2 towers have awakened. Royal wards now recognize silver magic. And my mother had a false identity. You also know the royal vault called Valcrest Blood unauthorized. That part was enjoyable. Theron sighed. You are impossible. I was easier before my wife removed my magic. Former wife. I looked at him. He smiled. Fruit seller told me. I almost laughed. Then my sword hummed. The black blade rested across the table. Silver light pulsed once. Theron's smile disappeared. It does that whenever Lysandra's name is mentioned? No. Then why now? I don't know. He stared at me. Stop saying that. That seems to be Aurelia's complaint too. I picked up the sword. The silver line brightened. A feeling moved through me. Recognition. Not from the sword. From something inside my blood. North. Cold skies. Silver towers. A woman standing beneath snow. Lysandra. I had never met her. Yet some part of me knew she mattered. We arrived at the palace just before the banquet. The Hall of Crowns looked almost unchanged from the night Aurelia destroyed our marriage. That was deliberate. Royal families understood symbolism. The same hall. The same throne. The same noble houses. Only my position had changed. 2 nights earlier, I stood at Aurelia's side. Tonight, Lucien did. He wore the royal guardian armor as if it had been made for him. It hadn't. The left shoulder sat slightly too high. He hated that. I knew because I saw him adjust it twice. Petty satisfaction was still satisfaction. I entered without announcement. Conversations weakened, then stopped. Every eye turned. A noblewoman whispered behind her fan. Why is he here? Princess's invitation. After what happened? They say he caused the towers. They say the towers call him king. That is treason. Only if the current king hears. King Aldrich was 20 feet away. He heard. His face hardened. I bowed. Not deeply. Your Majesty. Kalen. No title. Good. We finally agreed on something. Aurelia stood beside the throne. Dark gold gown. Crown jewels at her throat. Perfect. She always looked most dangerous when she looked beautiful. Our eyes met. For half a second, the room vanished. 7 years reduced distance strangely. I remembered exactly how she smelled. Exactly how her fingers felt against mine. Exactly how she looked when she wanted to say something and refused. Then Lucien stepped closer to her. Reality returned. He smiled. Kaelin. Lucien. You came. You're observant. His smile tightened. Aurelia interrupted. Not tonight, Your Highness. She looked between us. Queen Lysandra is here to negotiate an alliance worth more than several eastern provinces. I will not have either of you turn this banquet into a personal spectacle. I looked around. Last time we were here, you stripped me of my title, magic, property, and marriage in front of 800 people. Her eyes flashed. So forgive me if I find your concern for decorum recent. Lucien nearly laughed. Not because he found it funny, because he enjoyed seeing Aurelia hurt. That interested me. Aurelia noticed him. His smile vanished. A trumpet sounded. The hall straightened. Doors opened. The Valorian delegation entered. The first thing I noticed about Queen Lysandra was that she wore no crown. She didn't need one. She was perhaps 27. Tall. Black hair falling in a single braid over one shoulder. Her gown was dark blue, almost black, embroidered with threads that caught the light like stars. At her right hip hung a narrow silver sword. 3 spell knights walked behind her. No one else carried weapons into the Hall of Crowns. No royal guard stopped them. That told me everything about Valoria's diplomatic influence. Aurelia descended the dais. King Aldrich remained seated. Your Majesty, Aurelia said warmly. Valeria welcomes you. Lysandra stopped. Her eyes moved over Aurelia. Then Lucien. Then the king. Then me. Everything changed. Her expression emptied. Not surprise. Something deeper. Recognition. My mother's sword vibrated beneath my coat. Lysandra stared at me. The hall became silent. Aurelia noticed. Your Majesty? Lysandra did not answer. She walked toward me. Slowly. Every noble turned to follow her. I stayed still. She stopped 3 feet away. Her eyes moved over my face. My hair. My eyes. Then my hands. Your name. Her voice was quiet. Kaelin Vare. Something almost like pain passed through her expression. No. The room tightened. I frowned. That has been my name for 29 years. Not your true one. Aurelia stepped forward. Queen Lysandra. Perhaps there has been some misunderstanding. Lysandra ignored her. She looked only at me. Show me your blade. Lucien's hand moved toward his sword. Theron quietly stepped between him and me. I pulled my mother's sword free. Gasps spread. Silver light filled the blade. Lysandra's breath stopped. Then she did something no one expected. She dropped to one knee. The hall exploded. Voices. Gasps. A chair overturned. Someone shouted. King Aldrich stood so fast his throne struck the wall. Aurelia went completely white. Lucien whispered. No. Queen Lysandra Vane, sovereign ruler of one of the most powerful magical kingdoms on the continent, knelt before me. I stared down at her. What are you doing? She placed one fist over her heart, then spoke in a language I had never studied. Yet I understood every word. 300 years have we waited. Silver light moved through the floor. The ancient tower in the old quarter rang. Once, every window trembled. Lysandra lifted her eyes. 300 years have we guarded the oath. Another bell. 300 years have we kept the northern gates. Third bell. And now the blood has returned. The silver flame in my sword rose. Aurelia whispered my name. Kaelin. Lysandra stood. She looked at me with something close to reverence. Then she said, Kaelin Etherian. Silence. Not a whisper. Not a breath. King Aldrich's face became gray. I looked at him. He knew. Of course he knew. Aurelia saw it too. Father? He did not answer. Father. Lysandra turned toward him. King Aldrich. Her tone changed. Ice. You kept him hidden. Aldrich finally spoke. You overstep. Do I? You stand in my court. And you sit on a throne built from another dynasty's ashes. Gasps. Aurelia moved between them. Enough. Lysandra looked at her. For the first time, the two women truly regarded each other. Princess and Queen. Aurelia's voice was controlled. If you have information concerning Kaelin, you will explain it. Lysandra's eyes sharpened. You stripped him of crown fire. The room went silent again. Aurelia's jaw tightened. Yes. When? 2 nights ago. Lysandra closed her eyes. A strange expression crossed her face. Then she laughed. Not loudly. Almost disbelieving. What? Aurelia's tone hardened. Lysandra opened her eyes. You did it yourself? Yes. You removed every trace? Yes. Lucian stepped forward. The crown fire belonged to Valeria. Lysandra looked at him. For the first time, her expression became lethal. Who are you? Lucian's face tightened. Sir Lucian Dreven, Royal Guardian. Oh, one word. Dismissive. Lucian hated it. Lysandra looked back at Aurelia. Your Highness, do you understand what crown fire was? A royal blessing. No. Aurelia went still. Lysandra looked at King Aldrich. Shall I tell her? The king's voice dropped. You will not discuss sealed matters before foreign courts. Lysandra smiled. Foreign? She looked at me. Not anymore. I stepped forward. Enough riddles. Everyone turned toward me. I was tired. Tired of old journals. Tired of partial truths. Tired of people recognizing things about me that I didn't. I looked at Lysandra. You know my mother? Yes. Her real name? Yes. Tell me. King Aldrich shouted. No. Silver fire erupted around my sword. The floor shook. Every torch dimmed. The king stopped. I stared at him. That was not a request to you. Aurelia looked shocked. I had never spoken to her father that way. 7 years ago, I would have considered it unthinkable. Tonight, I found it easy. Lysandra stepped closer. Your mother's name was Elora Etherian. The name struck me physically. A memory. Snow. Blood. My mother holding me. The line must survive. I swallowed. What was she? Lysandra looked almost offended by the question. The last daughter of House Etherian. My chest tightened. Princess? No. A pause. She was the crown heir. The room erupted. Aurelia turned toward me. Lucian's face became unreadable. King Aldrich closed his eyes. I stared at Lysandra. If my mother was heir to a dynasty that ended 3 centuries ago, that makes no sense. It ended publicly 3 centuries ago. What does that mean? The last Etherian king was defeated. We know that. His bloodline was not. She turned toward the court. When Volcrest forces seized the capital, 2 Etherian children survived. Murmurs. They were taken north under Valorian protection. I looked at her. Your kingdom hid them. Yes. For 300 years? Protected them. Why? Lysandra's expression softened. Because we swore to. She pointed toward my sword. The 12-star oath. The symbol. The same symbol on the towers. Aurelia whispered, the northern oath. Everyone looked at her. She stared at the blade. I thought it was a myth. Lysandra nodded. Most Volcrest rulers worked very hard to make sure you did. Aurelia looked at her father again. His silence was an answer. I felt something inside me crack. Not magic. History. My entire life had been arranged on top of lies. House Vare. My mother's identity. Crown Fire. My marriage. I looked at Aldrich. When did you know who I was? He didn't answer. I stepped forward. When? Aurelia moved. Kaelin. I raised one hand. Not at her. But she stopped. The king finally spoke. When you were a child. How old? 6. My vision narrowed. My mother died when I was 12. Yes. You knew for 6 years. Yes. What happened to her? Aldrich looked toward Lysandra. She answered first. She was hunted. I looked at her. By whom? Lysandra's gaze moved toward the royal council. No one breathed. Men loyal to the Volcrest throne. Aurelia whispered, no? The king slammed one hand against the throne. This is an accusation without proof. Lysandra nodded toward one of her archmages. He stepped forward carrying a narrow silver case. Inside were letters. Dozens. Old. Sealed. Lysandra took one. Orders issued 23 years ago. Aldrich's face changed. She read, locate Elora Etherian. Confirm the child's blood. If confirmed, find the heir before maturity. Find. The word hit me. Crown Fire. I looked at Aldrich. You bound me. It saved your life. From whom? From everyone. His voice finally broke. The room became quieter. Aldrich stepped down from his throne. You think you understand what Etherian blood is? No. I do. Then explain. He looked at me. The last Etherian king destroyed 3 cities in one night. Murmurs. Not armies. Cities. Lysandra's face hardened. That history is incomplete. People died. Yes. Thousands. Yes. Aldrich looked back at me. The bloodline became unstable. Lysandra shook her head. The king was corrupted by void magic, which the bloodline could channel. So could yours. The king ignored her. He looked only at me. Your mother understood the danger. My mother screamed when you sealed me. Aldrich froze. I saw it. He had not expected me to know. Aurelia turned sharply. What? I looked at her. I remembered. When? Last night. She stared at her father. Aldrich looked suddenly much older. I continued. She said, "You're afraid of him." Silence. You answered, "We're saving the kingdom." Aurelia stepped toward her father. Is that true? He did not deny it. Her face collapsed for a moment, then rebuilt. She had always been good at that. Lysandra looked at Aurelia. You removed the seal. Aurelia turned. What? The crown fire. Lysandra pointed toward me. It was never his power. The word struck the room like thunder. It suppressed his power. Lucien stepped forward. That is speculation. Lysandra's gaze snapped to him. No. She smiled coldly. It is history. I looked at my hands. Silver fire flickered beneath the skin. Every victory I thought crown fire enabled. Every battle. Every spell. Had the magic been helping me or restraining me? Aurelia looked sick. I gave the crown fire to Lucien. Lysandra stared at her. Yes. Then what did I give him? Lysandra's expression changed. That was the first moment she looked concerned. Not what he thinks. Lucien's jaw tightened. What is that supposed to mean? Lysandra ignored him. She looked at me. The seal was made from two things. Crown fire and Etherian blood. My eyes narrowed. Aurelia went pale. Lysandra continued. When they bound you, the seal absorbed part of your essence. Lucien's hand moved unconsciously toward his chest. Golden flames flickered beneath his armor. I saw it. So did Lysandra. Her expression turned sharp. You transferred all of it? Aurelia nodded slowly. Lucien stepped back. Enough. Lysandra turned toward him. No, not enough. The hall tightened. You are carrying 7 years of corrupted seal residue. Lucien laughed. Corrupted? Yes. I have never felt stronger. That is usually how poison begins. For the first time, real fear crossed his face. Aurelia looked at him. Lucien? He snapped. I am fine. Too fast. Too angry. Lysandra watched him carefully, then looked at me. We need to speak privately. Aurelia immediately said, no. Everyone looked at her. She realized how it sounded. Her expression hardened. This concerns Valeria. Lysandra raised an eyebrow. It concerns Etherian. He is a Valerian citizen. I almost laughed. The same woman who had taken everything from me was now arguing jurisdiction. Lysandra looked amused. Is he? Aurelia's face cooled. He was born here, under a fabricated family name. He served this kingdom and was rewarded with a magical seal. He married into this family. The words hung there. Past tense would have been more accurate. Lysandra looked at her, then at me. Something understanding passed through her eyes. So you are the princess. Aurelia stiffened. What does that mean? Lysandra answered calmly. The one who chose another man. The hall went silent in a different way. Aurelia's face went white. Lucien stepped forward. That is none of your concern. Lysandra looked at him. You wear his armor. Lucien's face darkened. You carry his seal. His hand tightened. And you stand where he once stood. She smiled. I think you have made yourself everyone's concern. I should not have enjoyed that. I did. Aurelia turned to me. Kaelin. What? Did you tell her? No. Lysandra answered. The entire northern road was discussing your ceremony. Aurelia's embarrassment became anger. I see. No. Lysandra said. I don't think you do. Aurelia turned. The queen's tone lost all mockery. If what I believe is true, you did not merely end a marriage. She looked toward the awakened towers visible beyond the windows. You severed the final Volcrest claim over the Etherian heir. King Aldrich went rigid. I looked at her. What claim? Lysandra's eyes met mine. Marriage. My stomach tightened. She continued. For 3 centuries, Volcrest rulers feared an Etherian return. So they killed them. Sometimes. Aurelia flinched. Lysandra continued. Other times. They absorbed them. Marriage. Yes. I looked at Aurelia. She looked horrified. Our entire marriage. Was that why her father agreed? I had been a minor lord. No wealth. No influence. Aurelia fought for me. Yes. But Aldrich's approval had come suspiciously quickly. I had always believed he respected my military talent. Now Aurelia shook her head. No. I looked at her. What? Our marriage was not arranged. I asked you to marry me. Yes. I chose you. I know. Her voice sharpened. My father did not make me love you. The word love hit harder than I wanted. Loved. Past tense. Maybe not. Maybe she hadn't even realized she used it. I said nothing. Aurelia looked at Lysandra. You will not rewrite 7 years of my life into a conspiracy. Lyssandra's expression softened slightly. I did not say your feelings were false. Then what are you saying? That your father benefited from them. Aurelia turned toward Aldrich. He looked away. That was enough. She laughed once. It sounded broken. Of course. For the first time since Lucien returned. She looked truly betrayed. Not by me. By her father. I knew that feeling. Part of me wanted to comfort her. I despised that part. Lucien moved toward Aurelia. She stepped away from him. His face changed. Aurelia. Not now. He froze. Small. But important. The room noticed. So did I. Lysandra leaned closer to me. We should leave. Why? Because Lucien's crown fire is becoming unstable. I looked at him. Golden lines glowed beneath his neck. Too bright. Orin saw them. Sir Lucien? Lucien looked down. The fire spread. His eyes widened. Then he screamed. Golden energy exploded from his body. People scattered. Aurelia shouted. Orin raised a shield. It shattered instantly. Lucien dropped to one knee. Crown fire poured from his hands. But there was something inside it. Black strands. Silver black. My power. Or part of it. The seal residue. Lysandra drew her sword. Do not touch him. Aurelia had already moved. She stopped. What is happening? The seal is rejecting him. Can you stop it? No. Can Kalen? Everyone turned toward me. Of course they did. Lucien lifted his head. For 1 second. His eyes were not gold. They were black. Then he smiled. Not from pain. Not fear. Recognition. He looked directly at me. And whispered, so it really is you. My blood froze. Aurelia heard him. What did you say? Lucien collapsed. The fire vanished. Silence. I stared at him. He knew. Not merely the symbol. Not merely the dynasty. Me. Lysandra looked at me. You see it now. What? He did not return for the princess. Aurelia went still. I looked down at Lucien. Then why did he return? Lysandra's answer was quiet. For your awakening. The hall seemed to tilt. Aurelia whispered, no? Lysandra looked at her. You thought you chose him. Her gaze moved to Lucien. I think he needed you to choose him. Lucien survived. That disappointed several members of the court more than they admitted. He was taken to the royal infirmary. Orin placed him under magical observation. Aurelia remained with him for less than 10 minutes. Then she left. That mattered. I didn't know why. I told myself it didn't. Lysandra asked to speak with me in the Western Observatory. I agreed. Theron followed. 3 Valorian spell knights remained outside. The observatory overlooked the entire capital. Both awakened towers burned silver in the darkness. Lysandra stood beside the window. You look like her. My mother? Yes. I've been told I look like my father. You do not. That caught me. You knew him? No. Then how do you know? She smiled faintly. Because your mother once complained that you inherited nothing from him except stubbornness. My chest tightened. You met her? Yes. How old were you? 7. What was she like? Lysandra looked toward the towers. Terrifying. I laughed despite myself. Theron said the same. She was also kind. That hurt more. She visited Valoria often before you were born. Why? To speak with my grandfather. About returning? Yes. I leaned against the table. So she planned to reclaim the throne. No. That surprised me. Then what? She wanted the Etherean line to remain hidden. Why? Because she believed the throne itself was poisoned. Void magic. Lysandra nodded. The last Etherean king did not fall because he was weak. What happened? He tried to control something beneath the capital. The Void Gate. Her eyes sharpened. You know that name? No. I frowned. I just said it. Theron looked at me. Lysandra slowly drew a circle on the dusty table. Your blood remembers things your mind does not. Convenient. Dangerous. That was less convenient. She continued. The Void Gate is beneath Valeria. Under the palace? Under the city. What is it? No one truly knows. Excellent. Lysandra ignored the sarcasm. The Etherean kings guarded it for centuries. The last king attempted to use its power during a civil war. And lost control. Yes. He destroyed cities. Yes. I looked at the towers. Then Aldrich was right to fear the bloodline. No. Why not? Because blood is not destiny. I looked at her. She continued. The last king chose corruption. And if I make the same choice, then I kill you. Theron choked. I stared at her. Lysandra smiled. My ancestors swore to protect the Etherean line. That sounds contradictory. Protecting a bloodline sometimes means stopping its worst member. I considered that. Fair. Theron muttered. You two are getting along disturbingly well. Lysandra ignored him. She reached inside her sleeve. A small pendant appeared. 12 silver stars surrounding a black stone. The moment I saw it, my mother's sword glowed. What is that? Your mother's. I stopped breathing. Lysandra placed it in my hand. Warmth. Then, a memory. My mother kneeling beside my bed. I was 6. She placed the pendant against my chest. You will not remember. Chalmi frowned. Remember what? Who you are. Why? Because sometimes surviving means forgetting. The memory vanished. I nearly dropped the pendant. Lysandra caught my wrist. What did you see? My mother. Her eyes widened. She said I would forget. Lysandra became very still. She sealed your memories. Another seal? Yes. I laughed without humor. Apparently everyone enjoyed sealing me. This one was different. How? She did it to protect you. So did Aldrich. According to him. Lysandra's expression hardened. Intent matters. Results matter more. She accepted that. I turned the pendant over. A name was engraved on the back. Kalen Eller Etherian. My full name. I stared at it. Eller? Your mother's family name used as a second name. I closed my hand around the pendant. For 29 years. I had been Kalen Vare. A minor noble. Soldier. Royal guardian. Princess's husband. All of those identities had been removed in a single evening. Underneath them, this. A name waiting 3 centuries. I wasn't sure I wanted it. Lysandra seemed to understand. You do not need to decide tonight what it means. Everyone else seems eager to. Everyone else wants something. And you? She smiled. I want several things. At least you're honest. First, I want the 12 towers awakened. Why? Because something is moving beneath the capital. The Void Gate. Yes. Second, I want the old oath fulfilled. Which means, she looked at me. The Etherian heir must survive. And third, for the first time, Lysandra hesitated. Interesting. Third, her gaze softened. I want to know whether Ellara's son became the man she hoped. That silenced me. Before I could answer, the observatory doors opened. Aurelia stood there. Alone. No Lucian. No guards. She saw Lysandra's hand still around my wrist. Her expression changed. Only slightly. But I knew her too well. Jealousy. I almost resented the hypocrisy. Aurelia looked at the pendant in my hand. What is that? I held it up. My name. She stared. Lysandra stepped away. Aurelia entered. Lucian is stable. Good. I wasn't sure I meant it. She looked at Lysandra. You said he returned for Kalen. Yes. Prove it. I cannot yet. Then don't accuse him. Lysandra's eyes narrowed. He knew the Etherian symbol. Aurelia looked at me. He denied it. He lied. You don't know that. I do. How? I thought of the silver ward carrying Lucian's whisper. Before. He was controlled. I looked at Aurelia. The night the district ward failed. He said I was dangerous now. So. He said before I was controlled. Aurelia frowned. By loyalty. He corrected himself. You think he meant Crownfire? Yes. Silence. Aurelia looked toward the city. I asked him about the towers. And he said the Holy Order has records. Lysandra's expression sharpened. What records? He wouldn't say. Then he knows. Aurelia closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them, she looked exhausted. I don't know who to trust. The sentence hung there. 7 years earlier. I would have answered immediately. Me. Trust me. Tonight. I said nothing. She looked at me. That silence hurt her. I saw it. Kalen. What? She walked closer. If Lucian manipulated this, no? She stopped. No what? Don't do that. Do what? Don't start building an excuse. Her face tightened. You don't know what I'm going to say. Yes. I do. I stepped closer. If Lucian knew about my bloodline, that explains why he returned. Aurelia said nothing. It explains why he wanted Crownfire. Silence. It may even explain why he encouraged you to remove me. Her eyes lowered. But he did not call his own name in that hall. Aurelia flinched. He did not give himself my title. Kalen. He did not take my estates. Her jaw trembled. He did not end our marriage. Silence. You did. Her eyes became wet. She turned away. Lysandra said nothing. Neither did Theron. Aurelia whispered, I know. That surprised me. I expected denial. Justification. Anger. Instead, I know. She looked back. I was angry. At what? You. Why? Because you came back from the north, and everyone spoke your name before mine. There it was. Not love. Not Lucian. Power. Aurelia laughed bitterly at herself. Do you know what they called the victory? I did. Kalen's war. I had hated it. It should have been yours. I said, it was my campaign. Yes. My claim. Yes. My war. I know. But when the gates opened, they shouted your name. Her voice cracked. I spent 7 years climbing toward the throne, and every victory made you larger. I stared. You thought I was taking your place. Yes. I never wanted your throne. I know that now. No. I shook my head. You knew it then. She said nothing. You knew me. Her eyes closed. That was the truth. She had known. She had simply chosen fear over trust. Then Lucien returned and told her exactly what she wanted to hear. That I was becoming too powerful. That she deserved someone who served rather than overshadowed. That my place could be filled. Aurelia opened her eyes. I thought removing your power would restore the balance. I almost laughed. Instead, I looked toward 2 burning towers. How did that work? She flinched again. Lysandra turned away, giving us privacy without leaving. Aurelia whispered, I didn't know crown fire was a seal. I believe you. That hurt her more than accusation. She looked down. If I had known, you would have kept it inside me. Her head snapped up. Silence. There it was. The thought she did not want to admit. If she had known the crown fire suppressed my true power, she would not have removed it. Not because it hurt me, because it made me easier to control. Aurelia stepped back. No. I said nothing. No, she repeated. But weaker. I watched 7 years collapse inside her face. Finally, she whispered, I don't know. That was the first completely honest thing she had said to me since Lucien returned. I nodded. At least now we agree. A bell rang. 3rd tower. All of us turned toward the window, far beyond the western hills. Silver light split the night. Lysandra's expression changed. That was fast. The pendant in my hand burned. My sword answered. Then the ancient voice returned. 3 remember. I closed my eyes. Aurelia stared at me. What is it? Another tower. I can see that. No. I looked toward the horizon. It spoke. Silence. Lysandra stepped closer. What did it say? 3 remember. She inhaled sharply. Then another sentence entered my mind. Different. Stronger. The usurper's crown weakens. I looked at the palace throne below. King Aldrich sat somewhere beneath us. For 300 years, Volcrest rulers had called themselves kings. The ancient network had another name. Usurper. I opened my eyes. Aurelia saw something in my expression. What? I looked at her. And for the first time, I wondered whether the throne she had sacrificed our marriage to win was even hers to inherit. The towers remember your family too. Her face tightened. What do they call us? I did not answer immediately. Then I said, usurpers. Aurelia went completely still. And far below the palace, in a chamber no living Volcrest monarch had entered, 12 stone thrones began to awaken one by one. The 3rd tower awakened at midnight. By sunrise, King Aldrich had forbidden anyone in the capital from using the word usurper. By breakfast, everyone was using it. The order made things worse. Servants whispered it. Merchants painted 12-pointed stars beneath their stalls. Children in the old quarter had already invented a game where one child played the Volcrest king and the others chased him while shouting, usurper. The royal council responded by arresting 3 printers. That gave the printers' pamphlets a waiting list. By noon, Aurelia had convinced her father to release them. By evening, a new pamphlet appeared. Its title was, The Princess Who Freed the True King. I bought 2 copies. Theron found one on my table. He read the title, then looked at me. You're enjoying this. Immensely. You realize half the pamphlet is nonsense. Which half? The part claiming you summoned 12 dragons beneath the palace. Disappointing. The other half says Queen Lysandra recognized you because you were secretly married to her first. I stopped. Burn that one. Theron laughed. I did not. 3 days had passed since Lysandra knelt before me. 3 towers now burned silver across Valeria. The capital wards continued changing. The royal vault remained sealed to every Volcrest. And the royal council had finally realized the problem was larger than one discarded husband with inconvenient magic. I sat inside Vare House surrounded by records, birth registries, military files, marriage contracts, royal decrees, letters written in codes Orin had spent hours breaking. Lysandra occupied the chair across from me. Theron leaned against the wall. High Magister Orin sat beside a stack of documents looking increasingly ill. Aurelia was not present. That had been my condition. I wasn't ready to investigate my marriage with my former wife sitting 3 feet away. Orin opened another file. This was sealed under King Aldrich's personal authority. Date: 23 years ago. I did the calculation. I was 6. Yes. What happened when I was 6? Oren hesitated. Lysandra answered. Your mother returned to Valoria. I looked at her. You're certain? I met her. Why did she go? To ask my grandfather for help. With what? Lysandra looked at Oren. He lowered his eyes. I understood. With the king. Yes. I leaned back. What did Aldrich want? Oren slid a letter across the table. I read. Subject demonstrates uncontrolled etheric resonance. Subject. I had been 6 years old. 3 incidents confirmed. Animals responding. Dormant relic activation. Unauthorized lay interaction. I looked up. What does unauthorized lay interaction mean when the criminal is 6? Oren cleared his throat. You activated an old ward. I don't remember. You were not supposed to. Apparently, I was a dangerous child. Lysandra didn't smile. I continued reading. Recommend immediate crownfire binding before blood maturation. Signed, High Magister Corvin, Oren's predecessor. I placed the letter down. So the decision to seal me was made when I was 6. Yes, but the ritual happened when I was 22. Oren nodded. Why wait? Silence. I looked at Lysandra. She knew. I could see it. Say it. They couldn't. Why? Your mother. My fingers tightened. She protected me. For 16 years. How? Lysandra pulled another document from the stack. Not Volcrest parchment. Valorian. A treaty. Old. The Northern Protection Accord. Theron stepped closer. I've heard of that. Most soldiers have. Lysandra said. Not the original version. She pointed to a clause. No surviving blood of Etherian shall be bound, imprisoned, executed, or magically altered without consent of the Northern Crown. I stared. So Aldrich couldn't touch me. Not while your identity remained protected under the treaty. Then what changed? No one answered. I looked down at the documents. 22. What happened when I was 22? I knew. I met Aurelia. No. I had known her before. At 22. I married her. My blood went cold. The marriage. Oren closed his eyes. Lysandra said nothing. I stood. The marriage removed the protection. Oren finally spoke. Technically, it transferred you into the royal household. I laughed. There was no humor in it. Transferred. Kalen, like property? No. Then explain it better. He couldn't. Lysandra stood. Your marriage created a legal loophole. I looked at her. You knew? Not then. But your grandfather? Dead by that point. My mother? Dead. Convenient. Everyone who could have protected me had disappeared before I married Aurelia. I looked at Oren. Did Aurelia know? No. Immediate. Firm. I studied him. You're certain? Yes. How? Because I was present when she demanded permission to marry you. That surprised me. Oren continued. King Aldrich refused at first. I remember. He changed his mind after meeting privately with Chancellor Morvain. Why? Oren slid another document forward. A council memorandum. My stomach turned before I finished the first paragraph. Marriage presents a preferable containment strategy. Containment. Not alliance. Not love. Containment. Subject's emotional attachment to Princess Aurelia increases compliance probability. I stopped reading. Theron swore. Lysandra's expression became murderous. I read the next line. Following marriage. Crownfire binding may be administered under guardian investiture without triggering Northern Protection Accord. My hand began shaking. Not from weakness. Silver flame flickered across my fingers. Oren stood quickly. Kalen. I forced the magic down. They used her. Yes. And me. Yes. My eyes moved to the final line. Long-term integration into Volcrest bloodline remains desirable. I understood. Children. If Aurelia and I had children, Etherian blood would merge into Volcrest. No returning dynasty. No rival heir. No ancient claim. The threat would disappear into the family occupying the throne. I sat. For several minutes. No one spoke. 7 years. I remembered Aurelia standing in a chapel wearing white. Her hands trembling. Her smile when I lifted the veil. She had chosen me. That part had been real. But behind her, her father. The council. Men watching an ancient bloodline walk willingly into a cage. Theron broke the silence. Did Ellerin know this might happen? Lysandra looked toward the window. She suspected Volcrest would try to absorb the bloodline eventually. Why didn't she tell Kalen? He was 12 when she died. I looked at her. How did she die? There. The question no one wanted. Lysandra's eyes returned to mine. The official record says fever. I remember. Do you believe it? No. Neither do I. Oren shifted. I looked at him. You have something. Not proof. Show me. He pulled a small ledger from beneath the larger files. A royal physician visited Vare House 3 days before your mother's death. I stared. I remember him. What? A man with gray gloves. Oren froze. You remember? Pieces. My head began to ache. The pendant around my neck warmed. Memory. My mother sitting beside a window. Pale. Sweating. A man preparing medicine. Gray gloves. She knocked the cup away. He grabbed her wrist. She looked toward the doorway. Toward me. Then, darkness. I opened my eyes. The physician. Oren looked sick. His name was Mailer Ven. Where is he? Dead. Of course. 16 years ago. How? Carriage accident. Theron laughed bitterly. Convenient kingdom. I looked at the ledger. Who sent him? Oren hesitated. I already knew. Who? Royal Council. Silver fire erupted from the table. Documents lifted into the air. Theron stepped forward. Kalen. I stood perfectly still. The room trembled. My mother's sword rattled in its sheath. The ancient network beneath the city responded to my anger. That frightened me enough to stop. I breathed once. Twice. The fire faded. Lysandra watched carefully. You see why the bloodline frightens them. I looked at her. That's supposed to help? No. Good. She stepped closer. But you must learn control before the towers fully awaken. I know. If your emotions can move the lane network now, imagine what happens at 12. I didn't want to. Theron pointed at another stack. What about Lucien? That redirected the anger. Good. Oren opened a Holy Order file. Lucien entered the Order 6 years ago. After exile. Yes. He rose quickly. Extremely. How quickly? Oren turned the page. Commander in 4 years. Theron frowned. Impossible. Why? The Holy Order doesn't promote outsiders that fast. Lysandra nodded. Unless someone sponsors them. Who sponsored him? Oren looked at the signature. Archprelate Severin. Lysandra went still. I noticed. You know him? Yes. Who is he? A scholar of forbidden pre-Etherian magic. Void. She nodded. Theron straightened. Lucien was trained by a Void scholar? Possibly. I looked through the file. Missions. Relics. Ruins. Every assignment Lucien received involved ancient sites. 3 were former Etherian sanctuaries. 1 was near an old tower. I pointed. He was searching. For what? Theron asked. Lysandra answered. For the 12 anchors. I turned another page. Then stopped. A letter. Lucien's handwriting. I knew it. He had once sent Aurelia dozens of letters when they were young. She kept them in a blue box. I hated that I remembered. The letter was addressed to Severin. The seal remains intact. The princess's attachment to the subject is the primary obstacle. Subject again. Me. I continued. She will not remove the guardian while she believes his loyalty benefits her claim. Theron read over my shoulder. Gods. Next line. Her ambition must outweigh her affection. I stopped. Lysandra's face hardened. There it was. Lucien understood Aurelia. Maybe better than I had. He knew exactly where to press. Not desire. Not romance. Ambition. He didn't need Aurelia to love him. He needed her to fear me. I read on. The Northern Campaign presents an opportunity. If his victories continue to eclipse hers, resentment will mature naturally. My stomach turned. He had planned around the war. My victories. Aurelia's insecurity. Every celebration that praised me instead of her. Every newspaper calling it Kalen's war. Lucien had watched. Waited. Then returned at the exact moment her resentment peaked. Theron cursed. He manipulated her. Yes. The word tasted bitter. Lysandra watched me. You sound relieved. I looked at her. I'm not. You should not be. I know. Because manipulation, explained Lucien. It did not absolve Aurelia. I turned the page. The final paragraph was shorter. Once she strips the crown fire from him, the first gate will open. Silence. Theron read it twice. Gate. Lysandra took the letter. Her face changed. Not tower. What? He didn't write tower. She looked at me. He wrote gate. Cold moved through me. The void gate. Possibly. Oren shook his head. But removing the crown fire awakened the Etherian towers. Both can be true. I looked at Lysandra. How? The crown fire sealed your blood. Yes. But if Severin knew the Etherian bloodline was connected to the void gate, he needed me awake. Yes. Theron frowned. Why not simply kill him? Lysandra looked at me. Because dead blood cannot open a gate. The room went silent. I read the line again. Once she strips the crown fire from him, the first gate will open. A knock hit the door. 3 times. Orin opened it. A palace messenger stood outside. Lord Vare. I hated that title now. What? The Royal Council has issued a summons. No. The messenger blinked. Theron smiled. Orin sighed. I returned to the letter. The messenger swallowed. Sir, the summons concerns charges of magical sabotage, unlawful control of royal infrastructure, and treason against the Volcrest crown. I looked up. Treason? Yes. That's new. He handed me the parchment. At the bottom were 12 signatures. Council members. And beneath them, Aurelia. My amusement vanished. Theron read over my shoulder. She signed it. Yes. Lysandra's eyes narrowed. What exactly are they demanding? I read the final paragraph. Kaelin Vare is ordered to appear before the Royal Council at first bell tomorrow and submit to judgment. Submit. Interesting choice. Then I saw a handwritten edition. Aurelia's writing. I recognized every curve. Come willingly. Do not make this worse. I stared at it. 7 years of lies behind me. A royal council that had used my marriage to bind my blood. A first love who had manipulated my wife into releasing something he needed. And Aurelia still believed she could order me. I folded the parchment. Theron asked, Are you going? Yes. Orin looked surprised. Lysandra did not. Why? I placed Lucien's letter beside Aurelia's summons. Because I'm tired of everyone deciding what I am while I'm not in the room. That night, the fourth tower awakened. And for the first time, the royal palace shook when it did. The royal council chamber had been built to make people feel small. 40-foot pillars, black marble floors, a vaulted ceiling painted with every Volcrest victory from the last 3 centuries. At the center stood a single silver circle. The accused stood there, alone. Everyone else sat above. King Aldrich occupied the highest seat. Aurelia sat 1 level below him. Lucien sat at her right. He had recovered quickly. Too quickly. The golden crown fire inside him looked stable again, though faint black lines occasionally moved beneath his skin. 12 counselors sat in a semicircle. Behind them, nearly 300 nobles filled the observation galleries. Another public spectacle. The Volcrests loved those. I entered alone. Theron had wanted to accompany me. I refused. Lysandra had wanted to attend as a foreign sovereign. The council refused. She smiled when they told her. That worried me more than if she had threatened them. I walked into the silver circle. Whispers spread. No armor. No title. No royal insignia. Only my mother's black sword at my hip. Chancellor Morvain struck his staff. Kaelin Vare. I looked at him. He had signed the containment memorandum 23 years ago. I knew that now. He did not know I knew. Do you understand the charges against you? Several are creative. Murmurs. Morvain's face tightened. You are accused of deliberately interfering with the Capital Ward network. No. Unlawfully altering royal magical infrastructure. No. Seizing control of 3 ancient structures within Valerian territory. No. And invoking a false royal claim against House Volcrest. I smiled. That one is interesting. King Aldrich leaned forward. This is not entertainment. No. I looked directly at him. It stopped being entertaining when I found the memorandum calling my marriage a containment strategy. The room exploded. Aurelia's face changed. Morvain slammed his staff. Silence. It took nearly a minute. Aldrich's eyes burned. Where did you obtain sealed council documents? Your archive security is poor. Those records are property of the crown. So was I, apparently. Another wave of whispers. Aurelia closed her eyes. Lucien watched me. Not angry. Interested. That bothered me. Morvain spoke. This hearing concerns your actions since the Ascension ceremony. Convenient. Answer the charges. I did. You deny responsibility? I deny deliberately causing any ward failure. But you admit altering them. No. Morvain pointed toward a crystal projection. An image appeared above the chamber. The northwestern ward. Silver. 12 stars. Is that your magic? I don't know. Laughter came from the gallery. Morvain smiled. You expect us to believe that? I've been discovering new facts about myself every 6 hours. More whispers. Perhaps your records can explain it. Morvain's smile vanished. Lucien finally spoke. Enough games. I looked at him. He wore the Royal Guardian armor again. My armor. Kaelin knows exactly what he's doing. Do I? You have activated 4 Etherean towers. I was asleep when the 4th woke. You control them. Prove it. His jaw tightened. I smiled. That's usually useful at trials. Aurelia spoke. Kaelin. The room quieted instantly. I looked at her. She appeared tired, but composed. Princess Aurelia. Always strongest when hiding damage. This does not need to become a trial. I glanced around. Interesting room for that argument. You can end this now. How? Restore the capital wards to crown authority. I don't know how. You rebuilt them once. They no longer respond the same way. Then make them. I laughed softly. Aurelia's face tightened. What's funny? You still think I'm refusing, aren't you? No. I looked toward the stone beneath my feet. The city stopped recognizing crown fire after you removed mine. Lucien stood. Because you corrupted it. Then fix it. His face darkened. I continued. You have my title. Silence. My crown fire. Silence. My command. Silence. My access. I spread my hands. You have everything Aurelia said made me royal guardian. The gallery went quiet. So why can't you do what I did? Lucien's golden fire flared. Because you left traps. Where? He hesitated. Show one. Nothing. Show the council one line of ward architecture I sabotaged. He looked at Morvain. Morvain interrupted. This is not about Sir Lucien. It became about him when you gave him my job. A few nobles laughed. Aurelia struck the arm of her chair. Enough. Silence. She stood. I looked up at her. For one moment, I remembered another Aurelia, barefoot in our chambers, laughing because I had burned breakfast, sleeping with her head against my chest, asking me to promise I would return from war. That woman felt like someone I had dreamed. The princess before me was real. She descended the steps. 1, 2, 3. She stopped above the silver circle. Kaelin, listen to me carefully. I am. The kingdom is unstable. Yes. For towers have awakened. Yes. The royal vault rejects my family. Yes. The wards are changing allegiance. Yes. And rumors are spreading that you intend to claim the throne. I haven't. Yet. There it was. Fear. Not of Lucien. Not of magic. Of me. Aurelia continued. If you publicly affirm House Volcrest's authority and restore the wards, this council is prepared to dismiss the charges. I stared. What does publicly affirm mean? She hesitated. I knew before she said it. Kneel. The word fell into the chamber. Silence. Absolute. Even Lucien looked at her. I almost thought I had misheard. What? Aurelia's face hardened. Kneel before the crown. 300 nobles watched. Morvain looked satisfied. King Aldrich said nothing. Aurelia continued. Swear that you hold no claim against House Volcrest. And then, you will be restored as Lord of Vare. I laughed. She flinched. Something funny? You invented the title. What? There was no House Vare before your father created it. The gallery stirred. Aurelia's face tightened. We can restore your estates. Mine? Yes. The ones you gave Lucien? Lucien stood. Aurelia raised a hand. He stopped. She looked at me. Westmere and Thornfield. Not Ravenhill. Lucien requires a guardian estate. Generous. Her jaw clenched. You will receive an annual royal pension. I don't need it. You currently have almost no money. Still don't need it. Kaelin, stop making this difficult. I stared at her. That sentence. After everything. I almost felt sorry for her. She truly did not understand. Aurelia. Her eyes met mine. You think I'm bargaining for my old life. She said nothing. I don't want it. A flicker of pain. You don't mean that. I do. 7 years do not disappear in 4 days. No. I looked at Lucien. They disappear in one ceremony. The room tightened. Aurelia's eyes shone. She forced the emotion down. Kneel. More quietly this time. Not a command to an enemy. A plea to a man she once knew. Do this. Kaelin. Why? Because if you don't, my father will declare you an enemy of the crown. Aldrich's face hardened. I looked at him. Will he? Aurelia lowered her voice. Yes. And you signed the charges. She went still. Yes. Why? To get you here. You could have asked. You refused every summons. Orders. Silence. You sent orders. Aurelia looked away. I understood. This was her last attempt to force the world back into its old shape. She was princess. I obeyed. She commanded. I protected. She stood above. I stood beside or below. Lucien had replaced me. But somehow Aurelia still expected the old Kaelin to remain available when things went wrong. I looked around the chamber. At Morvain. At Aldrich. At Lucien. At the nobles who had watched Aurelia strip me of everything. Then I looked at the silver circle beneath my feet. Kneel. Aurelia said again. So I did. Gasps. My right knee touched the floor. The chamber erupted. Lucian smiled. Morvain exhaled. King Aldrich leaned back. Aurelia closed her eyes. Relief. Real relief. She thought she had won. Thank you, she whispered. I looked up. I'm not kneeling to you. Her eyes opened. What? I placed my palm against the black marble. Cold. Ancient. Alive. The silver markings beneath my skin ignited. Lucian's smile disappeared. Aurelia stepped back. Kaelin. I closed my eyes. The network appeared. Not 4 towers. 12. 4 awake. 8 sleeping. Silver lines connected them beneath the kingdom. And at the center, the royal palace. Built directly over an Etherean nexus. I understood. The Volcrest Palace wasn't merely built on Etherean ruins. It was built inside them. For 3 centuries, Crownfire had covered the old system. A golden mask over silver bones. I whispered, you say this kingdom's magic belongs to your crown. Aurelia stared. What are you doing? Answer. Her expression hardened. Yes. I opened my eyes. Silver fire burned in my vision. The wards? Yes. The palace? Yes. The towers? She hesitated. Lucian shouted, get him away from the floor. No one moved. I looked at Aurelia. The towers? She lifted her chin. They stand on Valerian land. Not an answer, but enough. I smiled. Then let the kingdom decide. Lucian drew his sword. Too late. I pressed my palm flat. Everything went dark. Every torch died. Every magical crystal vanished. The gallery screamed. Crownfire disappeared from the walls. From the ceiling. From the throne. From Lucian. He shouted. What did you do? I didn't answer. Because I hadn't done it. I had asked. The network answered. A deep sound rolled beneath the palace. Boom. The entire chamber shook. Someone screamed. Boom. A crack split the black marble. Silver light appeared beneath it. Boom. The painted ceiling changed. 300 years of Volcrest victories disappeared beneath darkness. Then stars appeared. 12. Huge. Silver. Aurelia stared upward. No. The floor ignited. Ancient lines raced outward from my hand. Through the council chamber. Up the pillars. Across the walls. The Volcrest phoenix crests cracked one by one. Silver stars emerged beneath them. Morvain stumbled backward. This is treason. I looked at him. Against whom? His face went white. The royal throne began to shake. King Aldrich stood. Stop this. I don't know how. Liar. He raised one hand. Crownfire erupted. For half a second. Then vanished. The king stared at his empty palm. Aurelia tried next. Nothing. Lucian roared. Golden fire exploded around him. The silver network reacted instantly. A wave struck him. He flew backward. His body slammed into a pillar. The guardian armor cracked. My old armor. I should have been upset. I wasn't. Orin appeared in the gallery. He stared at the walls. Gods. What? Aurelia shouted. He pointed behind the throne. Stone was moving. An enormous section of wall split. Dust poured into the chamber. Behind 3 centuries of Volcrest stonework stood an older surface. Black. Smooth. Untouched. A symbol appeared. 12 stars surrounding a crown. The same symbol as my sword. Then words. Old Etheric. I could read them. So could Lysandra. Somewhere outside. But no one else. Aurelia looked at me. What does it say? I stood slowly. The chamber remained dark except for silver fire. My hand no longer trembled. For the first time since the ceremony. Everything felt quiet. Right. I read. Blood may borrow a throne. Aldrich's face changed. I continued. But stone remembers its king. Silence. Then another line appeared. Identify. The word wasn't written for the room. It was written for me. The ancient voice returned. Name yourself. The same demand from my vision. I had answered wrong then. Kaelin Vare. Son of Elora Vare. Names given by chains. Now I knew better. I stepped toward the ancient wall. Aurelia whispered, don't. I looked at her. Fear filled her face. Not fear that I would hurt her. Fear that the answer would change everything. Maybe it would. I placed my hand against the stone. My name is Kaelin. The wall pulsed. Son of Elora. Silver fire spread. Last blood of House Etherean. The palace groaned. I hesitated. King. I wasn't ready for that word. I did not want a throne. I did not even know whether I wanted the name. But the stone wasn't asking what I wanted. It was asking what I was. I finished. Kaelin Eller Etherean. The world exploded in silver light. Every window in the royal palace shattered outward. Across the capital, The 4 awakened towers fired beams into the sky. Then, a 5th beam appeared. Aurelia gasped. The 5th tower. Awake. Another. 6th. Orin shouted. 2 more. The entire capital could see them. 6 silver pillars surrounding the city. Half the 12 towers now remembered. The ancient wall changed again. One final message appeared. This time Orin could read it. The letters shifted into modern Valerian. Everyone saw. Blood confirmed. Then, 6 of 12. Then, the crown awaits its heir. No one spoke. Lucien pulled himself from the floor. Blood ran from his mouth. His eyes were fixed on me. Not surprise. Fury. His plan had worked. But something had gone wrong. I could see it. He wanted me awakened. But not like this. Not publicly. Not with 6 towers. Aurelia stood between us. She looked at the message. Then at me. Then at the throne. Her throne. The throne she had spent her entire life preparing to inherit. The throne she had sacrificed our marriage to protect. For the first time, she understood. If the ancient claim was real, she had not removed a rival from her path. She had discarded the man who might have made her queen. Morvain recovered first. This proves nothing. Everyone looked at him. He pointed at me. Magic can be manipulated. The wall responded. A silver bolt struck the floor in front of him. Morvain screamed and fell backward. I stared. I didn't do that. Orin almost laughed. The Chancellor scrambled away. Aurelia looked at me. What happens now? It was the first time she had ever asked me that without assuming I would solve the problem for her. I looked around. The charges? Her face tightened. I waited. Aurelia turned toward the council. This hearing is suspended. Suspended? I asked. Her eyes returned to mine. Then she understood. Dismissed. Morvain protested. Your Highness, dismissed. Her voice became steel. All charges against Kalen are withdrawn. Lucien stepped forward. Aurelia. She turned. Not now. Again. The second time she had said those words to him. He noticed too. His face darkened. I started toward the exit. Aurelia followed. Kalen. I stopped. She came closer. The gallery watched. She lowered her voice. You knew this would happen. No. I saw your face. I knew something would answer. That's different. Yes. She looked at the 6 silver beams beyond the shattered windows. You could claim the throne. I could barely claim breakfast 4 days ago. Don't joke. I'm not. She grabbed my arm. Instinctively. Like she had done 1,000 times during our marriage. Both of us froze. Her hand remained there. For one terrible second, everything old returned. Her warmth. Her fingers. The way she used to hold me when afraid. Then I looked at Lucien. Aurelia followed my gaze. She released me. Slowly. I'm sorry. I couldn't tell which part she meant. I nodded once. Then left. Outside the council chamber. Lysandra waited. She leaned against a pillar. Smiling. You were forbidden from attending. I obeyed. You're standing outside. Exactly. Theron stood beside her. He looked delighted. 6 towers. I noticed. Lysandra looked past me toward the chamber. Did you kneel? Yes. Theron stared. You actually did? Yes. Why? I looked at my palm. Silver lines still burned beneath it. Because I wanted to know what was under their floor. Lysandra laughed. A real laugh. Then her expression became serious. 6 towers changes things. How? The first 4 could be dismissed as ancient mechanisms. And 6? 6 means the succession trial has begun. I stopped. What succession trial? She stared at me. You truly don't know. No. The 12 towers do not simply recognize Etherean blood. What do? They choose whether the blood is worthy to rule. I looked back at the ancient chamber. So 6 isn't enough. No. What happens if all 12 wake? Lysandra answered quietly. The Etherean crown returns. And if they don't? Then you are blood. She paused. But not king. That should have relieved me. Instead, something beneath the palace pulsed. Once. A warning. The ancient voice whispered. 6 remember. Then, 6 judge. And finally, the betrayer approaches the gate. I froze. Lysandra. She saw my expression. What? The voice. What did it say? I looked back toward the council chamber. Lucien was no longer visible. My stomach tightened. The betrayer approaches the gate. Lysandra's face changed. Lucien. We ran. But by the time we reached the lower palace, Lucien Dreven had already disappeared. And 300 feet beneath the royal palace. For the first time in centuries, something knocked from the other side of the void gate. The first thing we discovered beneath the royal palace was that the Volcrests had built their throne room in the wrong place. The second was that they knew. Lysandra, Theron, Orin, and I descended through a passage hidden behind the ancient wall revealed during my hearing. Aurelia followed. King Aldrich tried to stop her. She ignored him. That was new. The stairs descended farther than the palace foundations should have allowed. 100 steps, 200, 300. Crownfire lamps lined the upper passage. Then they stopped. Silver light replaced them. No one had lit it. Thin veins in the stone glowed as we passed. They reacted to me. Aurelia noticed. She noticed everything now. How far down? Theron asked. Orin checked the depth crystal. 300 feet. Under the palace? Under the old city. Lysandra ran her fingers across the wall. This is Etherian construction. You've seen it before? I asked. In the northern sanctuaries. Aurelia looked at her. Sanctuaries your kingdom hid from us? Lysandra didn't turn. Protected from you. Aurelia's jaw tightened. Normally, that would have begun an argument. Tonight, she let it go. We continued. The passage ended at a circular chamber. At its center stood a door. Calling it a door felt inadequate. It was nearly 40 feet high. Black metal. No hinges. No handles. 12 silver chains stretched from its surface into the surrounding walls. 6 glowed. 6 remained dark. My blood turned cold. The towers, I said. Lysandra nodded. Each tower maintains 1 chain. Orin stared. Then when the towers awaken, the chains change. Aurelia stepped closer. Change how? No one answered. A knock came from behind the door. Boom. Dust fell from the ceiling. Aurelia stopped. Theron's sword appeared. Boom. The black metal rippled. Something was alive on the other side. I felt it. Not a creature. Something larger. A pressure against my thoughts. Open. I stepped back. Lysandra grabbed my wrist. Don't listen. You heard it? No. How did you know? Because every Etherian air recorded the same thing. Aurelia looked at her. What is behind it? The void. That's not an answer. It is the only one we have. Orin approached the nearest chain. 6 are active. Because 6 towers recognize Kalen. Lysandra said. And if 12 do? Silence. I looked at her. You know. The chains release from this side. Theron stared. Why would the towers open the gate? They don't. Lysandra looked at me. They give the Etherian ruler authority over it, meaning I choose whether it opens. Yes. That was worse. Aurelia turned toward me. Then don't open it. I almost laughed. Thank you. I'm serious. So am I. She looked irritated. For one moment she seemed like my wife again. Then both of us remembered she wasn't. Orin examined the floor. Someone was here. We moved closer. Boot marks. Fresh. Blood. A burned fragment of white cloth. Lucian's holy order cloak. Theron crouched. He came this far. But the gate is closed. Aurelia said. Yes. Where did he go? I looked toward a second passage. A small symbol had been drawn beside it. Not silver. Black. Lysandra saw it. Her expression hardened. Void mark. We followed. The passage led into an archive. Thousands of stone tablets lined the walls. Most had been smashed. Not recently. Centuries ago. At the center stood 12 statues. 11 were damaged. 1 remained whole. A king. No, not Volcrest. The same 12-star crown appeared above his head. An inscription remained beneath his feet. I touched it. Silver light spread. Words appeared. Aaron Etherian. Last king of the unbroken crown. Aurelia whispered, the Mad King. The chamber reacted. Silver fire flashed. The words changed. The Bound King. Lysandra smiled without humor. History disagrees with your family. Aurelia ignored the insult. What happened to him? I touched the inscription again. A memory entered me. Not mine. A battlefield. Fire. Aaron standing before the void gate. Volcrest's soldiers surrounded him. A man in golden armor approached. Lord Cashin Volcrest, the founder of Aurelia's dynasty. Aaron was bleeding. Cashin said, you cannot control it. Aaron answered, I am not trying to control it. Then why open the gate? To seal it from within. The vision shifted. Black energy poured through the city. Aaron raised 12 silver chains. Cashin watched, then turned to his soldiers. Now, a sword entered Aaron's back. I gasped. The vision vanished. Aurelia stared at me. What did you see? I told them. No one spoke. Lysandra closed her eyes. So that's how. How what? Theron asked. The Volcrest rebellion succeeded. Aurelia's face tightened. Rebellion? Lysandra pointed toward the statue. Your ancestor did not defeat a tyrant. She looked at Aurelia. He stabbed the man sealing the void gate. No, Aurelia's denial was automatic. I understood. 300 years of history had just become a lie. Oren began examining tablets. There must be records. We searched. Most were destroyed. Then Theron found a hidden compartment beneath the statue. Inside was a metal cylinder. Aurelia opened it. A scroll. The seal was Volcrest. Cashin Volcrest's seal. Her ancestor. She read silently, then stopped. Her hands shook. What? I asked. She handed it to me. To the surviving council. King Aaron is dead. The Aetherian heir has escaped north. Public knowledge of this must be prevented. The crown shall temporarily pass to House Volcrest until the void crisis is resolved and the legitimate line returns. Temporarily. I read the word twice. Theron swore. Oren sat down. Lysandra looked unsurprised. Aurelia stared at the floor. I continued. House Volcrest shall serve as regent of the realm. Regent, not king. Never king. The rest of the document contained signatures. 12 noble houses. Several still existed. Their ancestors had agreed. Volcrest would hold the kingdom. Not own it. Hold it. Until Aetherian returned. I looked at Aurelia. She had spent her entire life fighting to inherit a throne her family had never been meant to keep. What happened? She whispered. Lysandra answered. Time. Aurelia looked at her. That's all. Power rarely needs a complicated reason. Lysandra took the scroll. 1 generation became 3. 3 became 10. The regents stopped calling themselves regents. And erased Aetherian. Yes. Aurelia laughed bitterly. My family built 300 years on a stolen word. King. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Then I remembered the Hall of Crowns. Lucien's hand in hers. My ring on the floor. Aurelia looked at me. If this becomes public, it will. Her face tightened. You don't understand what that will do. To your claim? To the kingdom. Convenient. Anger flashed. Not everything I say is about myself. No. I stepped closer. But enough of it was. She looked away. Theron cleared his throat. There's something else. He held another tablet. Oren translated. The 12 towers did not automatically crown an heir. They tested one. Each awakening required an act of recognition. Blood. Control. Truth. Mercy. Sacrifice. The list continued. But 6 words had been destroyed. I looked at Lysandra. You knew. Partly. And if I fail, the towers sleep again. And Volcrest? No longer legitimate once the bloodline is confirmed. Aurelia went still. So who rules? Lysandra looked at both of us. No one. That was the problem. A kingdom without a recognized monarch. Civil war. 12 noble houses choosing sides. Foreign powers moving in. Suddenly the throne felt less like a prize and more like a blade held over millions of people. Aurelia understood too. We need time. Yes, I said. Her eyes met mine. For once. Agreement. Then Oren found the final tablet. It contained a marriage law. Old Aetherian. He translated slowly. When an Aetherian heir enters a recognized royal marriage, the spouse may share succession authority until the 12 towers complete judgment. Silence. Theron looked at me. Then Aurelia. Oh. Aurelia's face went white. Oren continued. If the marriage remains intact when the heir is recognized, the spouse may be crowned alongside the heir. Lysandra said nothing. She didn't need to. The meaning was obvious. If Aurelia had remained my wife, if she had not chosen Lucien, if she had not publicly dissolved our marriage, then even after the Volcrest claim collapsed, she could have stood beside the legitimate Aetherian heir. Not merely princess. Queen. The thing she wanted more than anything. She had possessed it and thrown it away. Aurelia sat slowly on a stone bench. No. No one mocked her. That would have been cruel. And unnecessary. The truth was cruel enough. She looked at me. If I had not, she couldn't finish. I did. If you hadn't ended our marriage. Her eyes closed. Lysandra turned away. Aurelia laughed once. Then again. A broken sound. I thought you were taking the throne from me. I didn't know there was one to take. I know. I told you I didn't want your crown. I know. You didn't believe me. She looked up. No. That answer mattered. Not an excuse. Just truth. She had chosen fear. And fear had cost her exactly what she feared losing. Boom. The void gate shook. We all turned. A black line appeared across one of the 6 sleeping chains. Lysandra's face changed. Lucien. What? He's corrupting the dormant towers. How? I don't know. A voice entered my mind. Not the ancient Etherean voice. Lucian. Kalen. I froze. Aurelia saw it. What? 6 towers remain. His voice echoed inside my skull. Let's see which of us reaches them first. Then laughter. The connection vanished. I drew my sword. Silver flame filled the archive. He's going after the towers. Lysandra nodded. Then this is no longer a succession. Theron drew his weapon. What is it? I looked at the black mark spreading across the chain. A race. Aurelia came to Vare House alone. No carriage. No royal escort. No crown. At first, I didn't recognize the knock. Princesses did not knock. They sent people. I opened the door. Rain had soaked her hair. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then I noticed the bag in her hand. What is that? My things. I stared. No. Her expression tightened. I haven't asked anything yet. You brought luggage. 1 bag. No. Kalen. No. She looked past me into the house. You have 6 bedrooms. 5 have leaking roofs. I'll take 1. No. Anger flashed. Good. Anger was easier than whatever else this was. You cannot keep saying no before I finish speaking. I've discovered I enjoy it. She pushed past me. I could have stopped her. I didn't. Old habits. Aurelia placed the bag on the table. My mother's sword lay nearby. She stared at it. You repaired it. It repaired itself. Of course. She sounded exhausted. I closed the door. Why are you here? My father confined me to the palace. You escaped? I am 27 years old. And apparently still confined. He believes I've become compromised. Have you? She looked at me. Probably. I waited. She removed her wet cloak. For a second, I almost reached for it. I stopped myself. She noticed. That was worse. I resigned from the succession council. I stared. What? This morning. Why? Because there may not be a Volcrest succession. That has never stopped your family before. She almost smiled. Almost. Then, I also suspended Lucian's authority as royal guardian. That got my attention. You can do that? I appointed him. Your father approved it. My father is currently too busy explaining 300 years of fraudulent monarchy to 6 counselors who want to kill each other. Fair. Where's Lucian? Gone. We know. Aurelia looked at me. He took something. What? She hesitated. The crown of Volcrest. I laughed. She didn't. Why would he steal an illegitimate crown? Because it isn't Volcrest. My amusement vanished. What? Aurelia opened her bag. She removed an old drawing. The crown. Golden frame. Red stones. But beneath the later editions, a 12-star pattern. Etherean. I stared. My family altered it. When? 289 years ago. So the crown of Volcrest was Aaron's. That was bad. Very bad. What can it do? I don't know. Stop saying that. She stared. Then, unexpectedly, both of us laughed. It lasted perhaps 2 seconds. Then silence returned. Aurelia sat. I deserve that. Yes. She nodded. No argument. That made this harder. I remained standing. Why are you really here? Her hands folded. Then unfolded. I wanted to speak without an audience. You could have sent a request. I didn't think you'd accept. You're learning. She looked at me. Lucian manipulated me. There it was. I felt my expression change. Aurelia raised a hand. I know. Do you? Yes. She swallowed. I know what you're going to say. Then save me the effort. He manipulated me. He did not make my choices. I said nothing. Aurelia continued. He returned 6 weeks before the ceremony. I know. He found me after a council meeting. Where? The Western Garden. Our garden. Interesting. He told me he had heard what happened in the north. That your soldiers were calling you the Kingmaker. I frowned. They called me that as a joke. I didn't know. You could have asked. I know. He showed me letters. What letters? From nobles. My expression hardened. Which nobles? They discussed supporting you if my father died. That isn't treason. I know. Now. Yes. She looked down. Lucian told me you were building your own faction. I was fighting a war. I know. Stop saying you know. Her head lifted. What do you want me to say? The truth. I was jealous. The words exploded through the room. Silence followed. Aurelia's chest rose and fell. I was jealous. Quieter. Of me? Yes. Why? Because everything became easy for you. I almost laughed. Easy. Not the war. Good distinction. I mean people. She stood. Soldiers loved you. Nobles trusted you. Foreign rulers remembered your name. When you entered a room, people looked. And when you entered, they bowed. That sounds better. No. Her answer surprised me. They bowed because they had to. I understood. She continued. They followed you because they wanted to. For years, Aurelia had wanted the throne. I had thought she wanted power. Maybe she wanted something more dangerous. Love without asking for it. Loyalty without demanding it. The things crowns could not guarantee. I never competed with you. I said, I competed with you. There it was. The simplest truth. You were my husband. I know. You were supposed to win with me. I know. You turned it into a contest. Yes. And when Lucien returned, he told me I had been right. About? That one day you would realize you didn't need me. I stared. She laughed bitterly. So I proved him right first. I had no answer. Aurelia looked toward the broken window. I told myself replacing you was political. With your first love. Yes. Convenient politics. I know how it looked. No. You know how it was. Her eyes closed. Yes. That stopped me. She continued. I wanted to hurt you. The room became very quiet. Why? Because I thought you had humiliated me without caring. When? The victory parade. I remembered. Thousands shouting my name. Aurelia beside me. Smiling. Her fingers tight around mine. I had thought she was proud. I hated you for smiling. She whispered. I was smiling at you. She looked at me. What? I didn't care about them. Her face changed. When we reached the palace, I smiled because you were there. No. Yes. She shook her head. Don't. Why? Because that makes it worse. Good. Maybe it should. She wiped at her face angrily. Lucien said if I removed you publicly, everyone would understand that your power came from me. I stared. And you believed him. I wanted to. Difference? Yes. At least she knew. She looked toward the ring finger of my left hand. Empty. Did you keep it? I knew what she meant. The wedding ring. No. Lie. It sat upstairs inside a drawer. I didn't know why I had picked it up after the ceremony. Maybe 7 years weighed more than pride. Aurelia nodded. I kept mine. That sounds like your problem. Pain crossed her face. I hated myself slightly. Not enough to apologize. She reached into her pocket. Her ring. Silver. Until stars fall. She placed it on the table. I don't want to be Lucien's wife. You aren't. I don't want him. Then you made an expensive mistake. Yes. No defense. No anger. Just yes. Aurelia stepped closer. I want to undo what I did. There it was. I looked at her. No. Her breath caught. I didn't ask you to forgive me. Good. I said I want to undo it. You can't. The High Temple has not finalized the dissolution. My body went still. She continued quickly. Legally. We are still married. Don't. Kaelin, no. If the old Etherean law recognizes, I laughed. Her face collapsed. There. That was the part she had hoped wasn't obvious. The Queen Clause. No. You came here after learning you could have been crowned beside me. That isn't why. Not entirely. Silence. I stepped closer. That's the problem. Aurelia. Her eyes filled. You don't believe anything I say. I believed everything you said for 7 years. She flinched. You spent that credit. She looked away. I softened my voice. Did Lucien force you to summon him during the ceremony? No. Did he force you to give him my command? No. My estates? No. My crown fire? No. Our marriage? Her voice barely existed. No. Then stop trying to find the version of this story where one hidden villain makes everything clean. She cried silently. Aurelia hated crying in front of anyone. I had seen it perhaps 5 times. Once when her mother died. Once when I nearly died at Blackbridge. Once after a miscarriage she made me swear never to discuss. I looked away. That memory hurt. She wiped her face. I loved you. Past tense again. Maybe. Her eyes snapped toward me. You know I did. I know you believed you did. That is cruel. Yes. Do you enjoy hurting me? No. That was true. I just won't lie to make you feel better. She stared at me. Do you still love me? The question I didn't want. I walked toward the window. Rain struck the glass. Kaelin. Yes. She inhaled. Hope. Dangerous. I turned. Yes. Some part of me still loves you. Her eyes closed. I continued before she could mistake it. That part is not enough. She opened her eyes. Could it be? No. Immediate. Her face broke. I forced myself not to look away. You chose when it mattered. I was afraid. So was I? I made one terrible decision. No. I shook my head. You made dozens. The ceremony. The title. The estates. The magic. The marriage. Every step gave her another chance to stop. She didn't. Aurelia whispered. What if I spend the rest of my life regretting it? Then regret it. She stared. That isn't forgiveness. You didn't ask for forgiveness. No. You asked whether regret changes my answer. I stepped closer. It doesn't. Silence. Then something strange happened. Aurelia smiled. Small. Sad. That's the first thing you've said tonight that makes me believe you're still you. I frowned. Why? Because you never rewarded people for saying the right thing. She picked up her ring, then placed it back in her pocket. I won't ask again. I believed her. For now. A knock sounded. Theron entered without waiting. He stopped when he saw Aurelia. Should I come back? No, we both said. Awkward. Theron held a message crystal. We found Lucien. I forgot everything else. Where? South. How far? 200 miles. Lysandra appeared behind him. Her expression was grim. He activated an old sanctuary. Tower? No. Then what? She placed a map on the table. A black mark pulsed near the southern mountains. The tomb of Aaron. Aurelia stepped closer. My ancestor buried him there. Apparently not all of him. Lysandra said. What does that mean? Lysandra looked at me. The Etherian crown was created from 12 starstones. I remembered Aurelia's drawing. Lucien has the crown. Yes. Why go to Aaron's tomb? Because the crown was broken after his death. Aurelia went pale. The Valcrests only kept part. Lysandra nodded. The largest part. And the rest? Buried with Aaron. I understood. He wants to rebuild it. Yes. Theron asked why. No one answered. Then the ancient voice entered my mind. He seeks a crown without judgment. I froze. What? Aurelia watched me. The voice? Yes. What did it say? I looked at Lysandra. Lucien wants to bypass the towers. Her face changed. How? The crown. Understanding struck. If he reunites the starstones, what? He may be able to imitate Etherian authority. Theron frowned. Enough to control the towers? No. Lysandra looked toward the floor. Enough to approach the void gate. Aurelia went white. I grabbed my sword. We leave now. Theron nodded. Lysandra turned toward the door. Aurelia reached for her cloak. I looked at her. No. Her expression hardened. I am coming. This isn't a royal inspection. He used me to start this. That doesn't make you useful. I know Lucien. So did I, apparently. He will expect you. Yes. He won't expect me. I stared. She had a point. I hated that. Aurelia fastened her cloak. You do not have to forgive me. I don't. You don't have to trust me. I don't. That hurt. She accepted it. But I helped open this door. Her eyes met mine. Let me help close it. Before I could answer, every candle in the room went out. The floor trembled. My mother's sword screamed. Not rang. Screamed. Silver light exploded from the blade. Then turned black. Lysandra whispered. No? Far south. Beyond mountains and forests. Something rose into the night. A column of black gold fire. Visible even from the capital. The ancient voice roared inside my skull. The false crown is whole. I grabbed the table. A vision struck. Lucien stood inside a tomb. The crown of Etherian rested on his head. Not silver. Black. Behind him stood a stone coffin. Open. Empty. Lucien smiled directly at me through the vision. Too slow. Kalen. I tried to move. Couldn't. He lifted one hand. Black fire spread. Your wife was useful. Aurelia beside me gasped. She heard him too. Lucien continued. But she was never what I came back for. His eyes burned black. You were. The vision shattered. I staggered. Aurelia caught me. For 1 second. I allowed it. Then the sixth awakened tower flickered. Once. Twice. Its silver flame turned black. Lysandra stared toward the horizon. He corrupted one. How many does he need? Theron asked. She looked at me. I don't know. The black tower rang. The void gate beneath the capital answered. Boom. Aurelia's hand tightened around mine. I looked at her. She looked terrified. Not for her crown. Not this time. For the kingdom. Maybe for me. It didn't change what she had done. But it changed what came next. I pulled my hand free. Not cruelly. Simply because it no longer belonged there. Get horses. Theron nodded. Lysandra drew her sword. Aurelia reached for the weapon she had carried as a younger princess. Before court politics replaced steel. I looked south. Lucien had my old crown fire. He had the stolen Etherian crown. He had corrupted one of my 6 towers. And he had finally admitted the truth. He never returned for Aurelia. He used her. Just as the Valcrest kings had used her. Just as they had used me. The difference was that Aurelia had finally realized it. And I had finally stopped caring whether that realization came too late. My sword ignited silver. Let's go take my crown back. We reached the tomb of Aaron before dawn. The journey should have taken almost 2 days. It took 6 hours. Queen Lysandra opened 3 northern transit gates without asking permission from the Volcrest crown. By the time King Aldrich's messengers discovered what she had done, we were already 200 miles south of the capital. No one complained. There were more important problems, like the Black Tower burning behind us, or the stolen Etherean crown, or the man wearing it. The final transit gate opened above a frozen valley surrounded by jagged black mountains. A stone fortress had once stood there. Nothing remained except broken columns and a staircase descending into the earth. Black gold fire leaked through the cracks. Theron looked down. Charming. Aurelia drew her sword. She had changed clothes during the journey. No royal gown. No jewels. Dark leather armor. A plain cloak. For the first time in years, she looked like the young princess I had first met during border training. Before politics consumed every room she entered. Before we married. Before Lucian returned. I forced the thought away. Lysandra knelt near the entrance. Void corruption. How recent? I asked. Minutes. Theron looked toward the dark sky. Then he's still inside. Aurelia tightened her grip. He wants us to find him. I looked at her. Yes. She knew Lucian. Perhaps not as well as she once believed. But enough. He always liked an audience. She said. Theron raised an eyebrow. You dated an irritating man. Aurelia gave him a flat look. So did Kalen. Apparently. I stared at her. She almost smiled. Almost. Then the ground shook. The black tower in the distance pulsed. A whisper entered my mind. Come, Lucian. I drew my mother's sword. Silver fire ran along the blade. Stay behind me. Aurelia looked at me. Was that directed at everyone or only me? Everyone. Good. Mostly you. Her jaw tightened. There. That familiar irritation. For half a heartbeat. It was almost easy. Then I remembered why we were here. We descended. The first chamber contained bodies. Holy Order soldiers. At least 20. White armor blackened. No visible wounds. Lysandra crouched beside one. Drained. Aurelia stopped. These are Lucian's men. Were. Theron said. Her expression hardened. He killed them. Lysandra touched the dead knight's chest. No. What? They volunteered. I looked at the runes burned into the floor. 12 figures had stood around a central circle. Power drawn inward. Sacrifice. Aurelia stared. They gave him their magic. Probably their lives too. A voice echoed through the corridor. They understood the cost. Lucian. Aurelia froze. The voice came again. Unlike some people. We followed it. The second chamber was larger. Ancient statues lined both sides. Aaron, Etherean. Generals. Queens. Children. Every face had been smashed by Volcrest soldiers centuries ago. Except one. A young prince. He looked disturbingly like me. Aurelia saw it. Her steps slowed. Kalen. I know. The statue's name remained intact. Yelwyr, Etherean. My second name. I touched the pedestal. A memory nearly surfaced. I pulled my hand away. Not now. Lucian laughed from somewhere ahead. You really do resemble them. Theron shouted. Come out, General Vallis. Lucian's voice carried easily. Still following Kalen everywhere. Theron smiled. Still stealing other men's things? Silence. Then, I never stole anything he deserved. Aurelia's face turned cold. She walked faster. Aurelia. I warned. I know. She did not slow. The third chamber opened into an enormous underground cathedral. And there he stood, Lucian Dreven, at the foot of a black stone throne, wearing the Etherean crown, or what remained of it. The gold editions placed by Volcrest kings had melted away. 12 dark starstones floated around a silver frame. 11 burned black. 1 remained silver. The crown fire inside Lucian's body had changed too. No longer gold. Black gold veins covered his throat and hands. His eyes were almost entirely dark. Behind him stood Aaron's coffin. Open. Empty. Aurelia stared at it. Where's the body? Lucian smiled. Still asking the wrong questions. Where's Aaron? Gone. You opened the tomb. Yes. What did you take? Lucian touched the crown. Permission. Lysandra stepped beside me. That crown does not recognize you. No. Lucian smiled. So I taught it new manners. Black flames spread along the floor. My sword reacted. Silver fire surged. The two magics collided in the air between us. The chamber shook. Lucian looked delighted. There it is. What? You. He descended the first step. The real you. Aurelia moved in front of him. He looked at her. Something passed through his expression. Not love. Never love. Amusement. Aurelia. Her grip tightened around her sword. You knew. Yes. From the beginning. Which beginning? Her face hardened. When you returned. Yes. When you told me Kalen was building a faction. Technically true. You forged the letters. Some. Which ones? Does it matter? It matters to me. Lucien laughed. That was always your problem. She went still. You thought your feelings changed facts. His gaze moved to me. Kalen never planned to overthrow you. Aurelia flinched. I know. No. You know now. He came closer. Back then, you needed him to be guilty. She said nothing. You needed a reason to hate how easily people loved him. Her eyes narrowed. Shut up. Why? You think you're telling me something I haven't already admitted? That surprised him. Only slightly. Aurelia continued. You manipulated me. Yes. I let you. Yes. You wanted the crown fire removed. Lucien's smile returned. Very much. Why? He looked at me. Because crown fire was not only a seal. Lysandra stiffened. Lucien noticed. Oh, your northern queen hasn't told you everything. I looked at Lysandra. What does he mean? She didn't answer quickly enough. Lucien laughed. Everyone's still protecting you from the truth. Say it. The seal had two purposes. I know one. To suppress your blood. Yes. The second was to hide you. From what? His eyes darkened. The gate. The chamber became colder. Lucien pointed downward. Void magic recognizes Etherean blood. Why? Because your family spent centuries feeding it. Lysandra snapped. That is false. Partly. Lucien's smile widened. The best lies usually are. He looked at me. The early Etherean kings discovered the void before Valeria existed. I said nothing. They built the 12 towers to control access. Guard. Control. He shrugged. Call it what you want. The last king tried to seal it. After generations used it. Lysandra stepped forward. For healing unstable ley lines. Not conquest. Lucien looked bored. And then Aaron became ambitious. He was corrupted. Same result. I lifted my sword. What does this have to do with me? His expression changed. Everything about him sharpened. The gate remembers blood. My stomach tightened. Crown fire made your blood quiet. Yes. Your mother understood that. I looked at him. You knew my mother? No. But Severin did. Archprelate Severin. The man who sponsored Lucien. The scholar of forbidden Etherean magic. Lucien continued. Severin spent 40 years searching for the last heir. Why? Because the gate cannot be opened from this side without Etherean authority. Lysandra's face turned white. So you needed him awakened. Lucien smiled. Yes. Theron raised his sword. You could have just removed the crown fire. No. Lucien looked at Aurelia. Only the Volcrest royal household held authority over the seal. Aurelia's face changed. I understood. The extraction. Yes. Aurelia had to order it. Yes. Lucien laughed softly. And Kalen had to consent or be formally condemned. I remembered Oren's warning. The ritual could not safely stop once begun. I had entered willingly. Lucien needed that too. What about the marriage? I asked. His eyes gleamed. Important. Aurelia's face tightened. How? While you were married. Volcrest authority overlapped his. Lysandra whispered. The shared succession clause. Lucien nodded. Exactly. I understood. As long as our marriage existed. The gate recognized Aurelia as part of my authority. Yes. So you needed it dissolved. Yes. Aurelia stared at him. You needed me to leave him. I needed you to sever the royal marriage willingly. Her voice dropped. And you knew I would. Lucien smiled. I knew you. The words struck harder than shouting. Aurelia had once believed that sentence was romantic. Now it sounded like an autopsy. She raised her sword. I should kill you. You should. Lucien opened his arms. Try. Aurelia attacked. Fast. No warning. Her blade cut toward his throat. Lucien moved one hand. Black crown fire exploded. Aurelia flew backward. I moved before I thought. Caught her. We hit the floor together. She gasped. I'm fine. You're bleeding. Still fine. I helped her up. Lucien watched. You always do that. I looked at him. What? Catch her. He laughed. Even now. Aurelia stepped away from me immediately. Lucien's smile deepened. She throws you away, and you still move first. Don't confuse instinct with forgiveness. No. He tilted his head. But perhaps she does. Aurelia's face hardened. Stop talking about him. Lucien looked delighted. There she is. What? The princess. He descended another step. The woman who thinks commanding the conversation changes reality. She stared at him. You never loved me. There it was. No anger this time. A question disguised as a statement. Lucian considered her. When we were 17. Aurelia's eyes flickered. Perhaps. He shrugged. I was 17. That was crueler than simply saying no. What about when you came back? No. Silence. Aurelia absorbed it. Theron looked away. Even Lysandra's expression softened slightly. Lucian continued because cruelty had become useful. You were beautiful. Aurelia said nothing. Powerful. Nothing. Lonely. Her jaw tightened. And terrified that your husband had become more important than you. His smile sharpened. You were useful. Aurelia's face emptied. I knew that expression. I had worn it in the Hall of Crowns. The moment pain became too large to show. Lucian had seen it too. And enjoyed it. Something inside me went cold. Enough. He looked at me. Protecting her again? No. Silver fire grew along my blade. I'm tired of your voice. Lucian laughed. Then his hand snapped toward Aurelia. Black chains erupted from the floor. I cut one. Lysandra destroyed another. 3 wrapped around Aurelia's arms and waist. She screamed. Aurelia, Lucian pulled. She flew across the chamber. Straight toward the throne. I moved. A wall of black flames slammed between us. I struck it. Silver fire tore halfway through. Not enough. Aurelia hit the stone. Lucian grabbed her throat. She drove her sword into his side. The blade entered. He looked down, then laughed. No blood came out. Black smoke wrapped around the steel. The blade shattered. Aurelia's eyes widened. Lucian whispered, You really thought the royal guardian mattered? His palm pressed against her chest. Golden light appeared. Aurelia screamed. I knew that scream. The extraction circle. My blood froze. No. Lucian looked at me through the flames. Symmetry. Crown fire ripped from Aurelia's body. Not much. Her royal blood carried only a fraction of what mine had. But it was hers. Golden threads tore through her veins. She screamed again. I attacked the black barrier. Once. Twice. Third strike. Silver fire cracked it. Lysandra joined. Theron hit the same point. The wall broke. I ran. Too late. The last gold left Aurelia's body. Lucian absorbed it. She collapsed. He let her fall. I caught her before she hit the stone. Again. Her skin was cold. Eyes unfocused. For one terrible moment. I was back in the Hall of Crowns. On my knees. Blood in my mouth. Aurelia standing above me. Everything the crown gave you has now been returned. Now she lay in my arms. Stripped. Powerless. By the man she had chosen. Her eyes focused on me. Kaelin. I know. It hurts. 3 words. No dignity. No title. Just pain. I remembered saying nothing when mine was taken. I remembered how desperately I had wanted someone to admit what was happening was wrong. I put one hand behind her head. Breathe. Lucian laughed. Touching. I looked up. Murder entered me. Real. Clean. The silver lines beneath the chamber ignited. Lucian's smile faded. Lysandra saw me. Kaelin. The walls shook. Kaelin. The ancient network answered my anger. Stone cracked. The black crown above Lucian flickered. For 1 second, I could feel the void gate hundreds of miles away. It felt me too. Open. I almost did. I didn't know how. But some instinct understood. Reach. Command. Tear. Lysandra stepped between Lucian and me. Look at me. I didn't. Kaelin. She grabbed my face. My eyes snapped to hers. If you answer the gate in anger, he wins. The words cut through. I breathed. Once. Silver fire steadied. Twice. The chamber stopped shaking. Lucian watched with disappointment. Interesting. He wanted me angry. He wanted me uncontrolled. Of course. He needed the gate. I lowered Aurelia carefully. Theron knelt beside her. I have her. I stood. Lucian touched the crown. Very good. You wanted that. Yes. You wanted me to open the gate. Yes. Why? He smiled. Because I cannot. You said the crown gives you authority. Imitation. His fingers tightened. Enough to corrupt towers. Not enough to command the gate. No. So you still need me. Always. I smiled. He frowned. That frightened him more than anger. Then you have a problem. What? I don't need you. I attacked. No warning. Silver fire cut across the chamber. Lucian raised both hands. Black gold magic met it. The collision shattered 6 statues. Theron covered Aurelia. Lysandra attacked from the right. Lucian blocked her. I came from the left. My sword struck the crown. A starstone cracked. Lucian screamed. Real pain. Good. He threw me backward with a wave of void fire. I hit a column. Something cracked in my shoulder. I stood anyway. Lucian touched the damaged stone. His face had changed. You don't understand what you're breaking. Your crown? My path. Better. He snarled. The ceiling began collapsing. Black magic surged toward the exit. Lysandra shouted. He's opening a transit tear. I ran. Lucian extended his hand toward Aurelia. She couldn't move. A black chain shot toward her. I cut it. He laughed, still catching her, still hiding behind her. His face twisted. Then he disappeared. Not entirely. A black tear opened behind the throne. Lucian stepped backward into it. I ran. Too far. He looked at Aurelia one last time. She lay pale in Theron's arms. For a moment, something almost human crossed his face, then vanished. I did love you once. Aurelia stared. Lucian smiled. That was before I learned what power was. The tear began closing. She whispered, Where are you going? His eyes moved to me. To finish what you started. Then he lifted one hand. 6 black symbols appeared in the air. The 6 sleeping towers. My stomach dropped. No. Lucian smiled. Wake them before I corrupt them. The tear closed. Silence. Then the entire tomb shook. One of the silver star stones from the crown lay on the floor, broken loose during my strike. Lysandra grabbed it. Her expression changed. What? This isn't dead. What does that mean? She held it toward me. The stone glowed silver. The ancient voice whispered, One stolen judgment returned. I looked south. Somewhere far away, one of the corrupted towers flickered. Black. Silver. Black. Aurelia coughed. I went back to her. She tried to sit. Failed. I can walk. No. I said, You have no magic. The word stopped her. Her face changed. She looked at her hands. Tried to summon crown fire. Nothing. Again. Nothing. Her breathing became shallow. I had seen that too. The first realization. The absence. Power had lived in your body so long that losing it felt like losing a limb. Aurelia whispered. He took it. Yes. All of it. Yes. Her eyes lifted to mine. And there it was. Understanding. Not intellectual. Not political. Physical. She finally knew. The helplessness. The violation. The humiliation of another person deciding your power belonged somewhere else. Tears filled her eyes. Kaelin. I knew what she was going to say. Don't apologize because you understand the pain now. Her mouth closed. That makes it about you again. She looked away. For several seconds. She said nothing. Then, You're right. I helped her stand. Her knees buckled. She caught my arm. Instantly released it. Sorry. Different. Small. I nodded. Theron offered his shoulder. She accepted. Lysandra approached with the starstone. We need to leave. What happens now? Theron asked. Lucian has 11 stones. And 6 towers he can corrupt. 5. I looked at the silver stone. He lost 1 judgment. Lysandra nodded slowly. That may matter. Aurelia looked at the crown fragment. Can Kaelin use it? Perhaps. For what? Lysandra looked at me. To wake another tower. The ancient voice answered. Not yet. I sighed. What? Theron asked. Apparently not. Aurelia almost smiled. The ground shook again. Then the silver tower behind us turned black. Fully. Lysandra's expression fell. 1 corrupted. A second black light appeared far to the east. Then a third. My blood turned cold. Lucian wasn't traveling physically. He was using the false crown to reach them through the network. He's faster. I said. Lysandra nodded. How long until all 6? Hours. Aurelia straightened despite the pain. Then we returned to the capital. I looked at her. Why? Because the gate is there. You can barely stand. I don't need magic to tell my father he's about to lose his kingdom. You already did that. She met my eyes. This time I mean literally. Fair. We climbed from the tomb as the sun rose. 3 black towers now stained the horizon. 3 silver towers remained beyond Lucian's reach. 3 of mine already burned silver around the capital. The balance had changed. 6 silver, 3 black, 3 sleeping. A race. But as we reached the valley, a Valorian message crystal activated. Lysandra caught it. Her captain's voice came through. Your Majesty. She froze. What happened? The capital. What? The underground gate has begun opening. Everyone stopped. How far? We don't know. Screams echoed through the crystal. Then bells. Then a sound like an animal too large for the world. Lysandra's face went white. Her captain shouted, The lower district is gone. Aurelia grabbed the crystal. What do you mean gone? The captain hesitated. Your Highness? Answer me. A black fissure opened beneath the city. 3 streets collapsed. Aurelia looked at me. Kalen. The ancient voice roared. Not words. Pain. The gate. Opening. Impossible. Lucian said he needed me. Then I understood. He doesn't need me there. Lysandra looked at me. What? He needs me awake. Silence. The gate recognizes my blood whether I'm beside it or not. Her expression changed. And the towers? Every corrupted tower weakens a chain. Lysandra looked toward the 3 black pillars. Gods. A 4th tower turned black. The ground beneath us trembled. The message crystal screamed with static. Then King Aldrich's voice came through. Not commanding. Not royal. Afraid. Kalen. I stared at the crystal. It was the first time he had called me without title. Accusation. Or order. Come back. A crash echoed behind him. Please. Aurelia looked at me. I felt nothing. Then Aldrich said, the gate is opening. The crystal went dead. The return journey took 4 hours. By the time we reached the northern ridge overlooking Valeria, the capital had changed. Black clouds covered half the city. A vertical crack of darkness rose from the palace district into the sky. 6 silver towers still burned. 4 black towers answered them. 2 remained dark. The city walls were covered in fleeing people. Thousands. Perhaps tens of thousands. Aurelia stared. My home. I looked at her. For once. She did not mean the palace. Theron whispered. Gods help them. Lysandra drew her sword. Gods appear occupied. I looked at the city. At the black fissure. At the silver network beneath it. At the kingdom that had taken my name. My power. My history. Then begged me to save it. I felt the Etherean starstone in my hand. Warm. Waiting. Aurelia stood beside me without magic. Title reduced to a technicality. Her first love revealed as the architect of everything she had destroyed. She did not ask me to forgive her. She did not ask me to save her crown. She only said, there are people down there. Yes. If you decide my family deserves this, she swallowed. I won't argue. I looked at her. But they don't. No, they didn't. Children did not build the lie. Merchants did not seal my blood. Soldiers did not manipulate my marriage. A kingdom was more than its throne. I drew my sword. Silver fire ignited. No. Aurelia looked at me. No what? Your family doesn't deserve saving. Her face tightened. I looked at the city. But the kingdom isn't your family. Then I started down the ridge. The 6th silver tower rang. Once. Twice. 3 times. And beneath the capital, the void gate answered with a roar. The first person to kneel when I returned to the capital was Chancellor Morvain. I almost walked past him. He stood at the western gate among hundreds of wounded soldiers, broken carriages, and terrified civilians. His robes were torn. Blood covered one side of his face. The man who had once called my marriage a containment strategy looked 20 years older. When he saw me, relief crossed his face. Then shame. Then calculation. Some people remained themselves even at the end of the world. Kalen. I stopped. Behind me stood Lysandra, Theron, Aurelia, and 40 Valorian spell knights. Ahead, the city burned. Black creatures moved through distant streets. Not animals. Shapes. Things with too many limbs and no faces. Voidborn. I had never seen one. My blood recognized them immediately. Every silver line beneath my skin burned. Morvain stepped forward. The council has authorized. No. He stopped. I continued walking. Authorized what? Theron asked. Morvain followed. Emergency restoration of Lord Vare's titles. I laughed. Even Aurelia looked embarrassed. Morvain continued quickly. Westmere, Thornfield, and Ravenhill will be returned. No. Your royal guardian command. No. Your seat on the war council. No. He looked desperate. What do you want? I stopped. There it was. The question they should have asked years ago. I turned. Nothing from you. His face tightened. We need your help. Yes. Then name your price. You still don't understand. A scream came from a nearby street. I moved before Morvain could speak again. 3 Voidborn had cornered a family beneath a collapsed balcony. Royal soldiers formed a line. Their crownfire weapons barely slowed the creatures. One leaped. I raised my sword. Silver light moved through the street. Not a projectile. A command. The ancient ward beneath the road ignited. A silver pillar erupted. The creature vanished. Not burned. Gone. The other 2 turned toward me. I felt their attention. Recognition. Hunger. Blood. The word entered my mind. They rushed. I cut once. Silver fire split one in half. Lysandra destroyed the other with a star bolt. The family stared. A small girl looked at me. Are you the king? Everyone went silent. Morvain's face became gray. Aurelia looked at me. I crouched. No. The girl frowned. My brother says the towers say you are. Your brother talks too much. She almost smiled. Her mother grabbed her. Thank you. I nodded. Then looked toward Morvain. This is why I'm here. He swallowed. The people. Yes. Not the throne. No. Something in Aurelia's face shifted. Morvain lowered his eyes. We still require a command structure. Then use one. Royal commanders are divided. Why? He looked uncomfortable. Some refuse Lucian's authority. Good. Others refuse yours. Also good. He blinked. You cannot fight a siege without unified command. No. I looked at Theron. General. He straightened. Kalen. You command the streets. Morvain interrupted. He was suspended from active command. Theron looked at him. Morvain shut his mouth. I continued. Evacuate the lower districts. Yes. Use silver safe routes only. How do I identify them? I touched his sword. A tiny silver mark appeared near the hilt. Theron stared. What did you do? Follow that. The blade pulled slightly east. He smiled. Useful. Lysandra. She stepped forward. North and eastern walls. Already mine. Aurelia. She looked surprised. What? Palace civilians. Her face changed. You trust me with that? No. Honest. But they will listen to you. She accepted the difference. What about you? I looked toward the palace. The black fissure rose directly above it. I go down. Lysandra immediately said, no. Aurelia said the same. I looked between them. Theron laughed. Popular idea. The gate is calling me. Lysandra's expression hardened. Exactly why you should not approach alone. I'm not planning to enter it. You weren't planning to wake 6 towers either. Fair. Aurelia stepped closer. You need the starstone. I touched the fragment in my pocket. Yes. And the remaining 2 towers. Yes. How? I don't know. She almost said something. Stopped. Good. Learning. Morvain cleared his throat. The king is waiting. I looked at him. I wasn't going to see him. He asked. So? He said please. Theron laughed. Even Lysandra smiled. Aurelia did not. My father does not say please. I noticed. A deep explosion shook the city. The western tower flickered. Silver. Black. Silver. Lysandra looked up. Lucian is attacking another. We were running out of time. Fine. I looked at Aurelia. Take us to Aldrich. The king waited in the war chamber. Not on a throne. That mattered. King Aldrich stood over a map surrounded by exhausted commanders. The moment I entered, every conversation stopped. General officers, council members, royal mages, men who had spent years treating me as a useful weapon attached to Aurelia. Now they looked at me like the weapon had learned its own name. Aldrich dismissed everyone except Orin. No, I said. The king frowned. No what? They stay. This is a royal discussion. No. Aldrich's jaw tightened. Old instinct. Authority. Then another explosion shook the palace. Dust fell from the ceiling. His shoulders lowered. Very well. I stepped to the map. Black marks covered the lower city. How many dead? Orin answered. Confirmed? Yes. 837. Aurelia closed her eyes. Missing? More than 2,000. Boyborn. 73 confirmed manifestations. Gate status? Orin pointed below the palace. For chains corrupted. For black towers. Yes. 6 still silver. Yes. 2 sleeping. Yes. I looked at Lysandra. If Lucian corrupts one more, the gate may open far enough for greater entities. How great? She looked toward the fissure. City ending. Aurelia whispered. Then we wake the last 2 first. I looked at the map. How? Aldrich spoke. There is something you should see. I almost laughed. Another secret? Yes. At least he stopped pretending. He opened a locked chest. Inside sat a black book. Etherean symbols covered the leather. My sword reacted. Where did you get that? My father. Who stole it from whose grandfather? Aldrich accepted the insult. I do not know. Lysandra opened the book. Her expression changed. This is the trial register. What? The record of past Etherean successions. I stared. You had this. Aldrich looked away. How long? My entire reign. Silver fire flickered around my fingers. Aurelia saw it. Kalen. I forced it down. How much did you know? Aldrich answered quietly. Enough. That isn't an answer. I knew the towers could recognize an heir. You knew crown fire suppressed my blood. Yes. You knew my mother was Etherean. Yes. You knew my marriage transferred me into your authority. His face tightened. Yes. Aurelia looked at him. Even after everything we learned. Hearing him admit it changed the room. I stepped closer. Did you kill my mother? Silence. Every person in the war chamber stopped breathing. Aldrich's eyes met mine. No. Did you order the physician? Yes. Aurelia whispered, Father. He continued. He was ordered to weaken her magic. My hand tightened. Why? So she could not remove you from Valeria. Did he poison her? I believe so. Believe? When she died. He claimed the dosage was wrong. You protected him. Yes. Why? Because admitting what happened would have shattered the Northern Protection Accord and triggered war with Valoria. Lyssandra's eyes became ice. You mean your father protected a murderer because exposure was inconvenient? Aldrich looked at her. Yes. No excuse. Maybe there was none left. I wanted to kill him. The thought came calmly. Cross the room. Draw the sword. One stroke. My blood approved. The network beneath the palace pulsed. Judge. I froze. Not kill. Judge. One of the trials. Lysandra saw my face. What? The towers. Aldrich went still. What did they say? Judge. The room became quiet. I looked at the king. Perhaps this was the seventh tower's test. Not whether I could destroy an enemy. Whether I could decide what justice meant when the enemy was kneeling. Aldrich straightened. If killing me awakens a tower, do it. Aurelia's face broke. Father. He ignored her. I authorized your binding. Yes. I allowed the physician to escape punishment. Yes. I used your marriage. Yes. I lied to you. Yes. Then take what you are owed. I drew my sword. Aurelia moved. Stopped herself. Important. She didn't stand between us. She simply watched. Aldrich did not move. My sword point rested against his throat. One push. 300 years of Volcrest kings. Ended. The ancient network pulsed. Judge. I thought of my mother. Her laugh. Her broken sword. Her death. I thought of 12-year-old me sitting beside a bed believing fever had taken her. I thought of Aurelia. What happened when fear became permission? What happened when powerful people convinced themselves cruelty was necessary? I lowered the sword. Aldrich stared. Why? Because death is easier. His face changed. You don't deserve easy. I stepped back. You will confess. Aurelia inhaled sharply. To what? Everything. Aldrich understood. Publicly. Yes. The binding. Yes. Your mother. Yes. The regency. Yes. The false history. Yes. Morvain, standing near the door, went white. I looked at him. You too. He swallowed. The kingdom will collapse. I looked around. Have you looked outside? Silence. I turned back to Aldrich. You wanted judgment. He nodded. This is it. After the gate? No. His eyes widened. Now. Aurelia stared at me. You want him to confess during an invasion? Yes. Why? Because everyone in this city is being asked to die for a crown built on lies. Silence. If they are going to fight, they deserve to know what they're fighting for. Aldrich lowered his head. Very well. The black book on the table flared. Everyone turned. Silver words appeared on its cover. Judgment accepted. Then a bell rang. Far outside. Seventh tower. Silver light rose from the southern hills. Orin gasped. You awaken one. Lysandra looked at me. 7. The gate below us screamed. Another voice entered my mind. Lucian. Mercy? I gripped the table. He laughed. You think mercy makes you a king? I answered aloud. No. Everyone stared. Lucian heard me anyway. Then why spare him? Because I'm not you. Silence. Then black laughter. Not yet. The connection vanished. Aurelia looked at me. He spoke? Yes. What did he say? Nothing useful. Aldrich touched the black book. We need the 8th. Yes. Lysandra turned pages. The next surviving trial is, she stopped. What? Her expression darkened. Truth. Theron entered the chamber at that moment covered in blood. We have a problem. Only one? I asked. Several thousand. He pointed toward the window. I looked. Royal troops were withdrawing from the eastern avenue. Behind them came a wall of darkness. Not voidborn. Fog. Black fog swallowing buildings. Orin went pale. Void tide. Lysandra cursed. What happens if it reaches the palace? The gate gets stronger. Theron looked at me. Can your ward stop it? I don't know. Aurelia stepped toward the window. The old eastern barrier. I looked at her. What? You rebuilt it after the plague fires. Yes. It was designed to isolate magic. Temporarily. How long? Against that? I studied the approaching tide. Maybe 10 minutes. Enough to evacuate. Yes. Theron nodded. I'll hold the avenue. No. He frowned. I need someone who knows the old barrier controls. You. Yes. Aurelia spoke. I know them. I turned. No. You taught me. When? During the plague. That was 6 years ago. I remember. I stared. She did. Of course she did. Aurelia had always been brilliant. Ambition had not erased competence. She looked at Theron. I can trigger the isolation sequence. You have no magic. I said. I don't need magic for the mechanical channels. Someone has to manually close the final gate. Yes. From inside. Silence. She knew. I saw it. Theron looked between us. That person would be trapped with the tide. Until Kalen activates the outer seal. If I can. Aurelia met my eyes. You can. Don't do that. What? Trust me now because you have no other option. Her expression softened. No. She stepped closer. I trust you because I should have before. I hated how much that sentence hurt. No. She looked surprised. You're not doing it. Kalen, I can send a mage. Most mages are fighting. I'll find one. And if you lose another 5 minutes? I said nothing. Aurelia looked toward the black tide. People were still fleeing. Children. Wounded soldiers. Civilians. She removed the last royal insignia from her cloak. A golden phoenix clasp. She placed it on the table. My entire life. I told myself the throne meant responsibility. Her voice was quiet. Then I used it to protect myself. Aldrich stared at his daughter. Aurelia looked at me. Let me do one thing because it is my responsibility. Not to win me back. Not to earn forgiveness. Not to reclaim a crown. I could see that. That made saying no harder. I grabbed her wrist. If the outer seal doesn't respond, it will. If it doesn't. She swallowed. Then close it anyway. No. Kalen. No. Our eyes locked. For one moment we were husband and wife again. Arguing over impossible odds. She smiled sadly. You always were bad at following orders. So were you. She pulled her wrist free. Then turned to Theron. Take me to the eastern barrier. I almost stopped her. Didn't. Choice. That had been the point all along. Theron looked at me. I nodded once. He and Aurelia left. Aldrich watched the door long after she disappeared. She was never meant to be queen. I looked at him. What? She wanted it too much. Maybe. She wanted my approval more. That explained too much. Aldrich looked at me. I taught her fear. I said nothing. I told her every person near the throne would eventually want it. I remembered Lucien telling Aurelia I would outgrow her. The poison had landed because the ground was already prepared. Aldrich continued. I told her love was a weakness other people could use. And she believed you. Yes. That's still her responsibility. I know. Good. At least one Volcrest had learned the sentence. The bells outside changed. 3 rapid strikes. Eastern barrier activation. I moved to the window. A line of gold light appeared across the avenue. Weak. Old. Aurelia had done it. Then the black tide hit. The barrier screamed. Buildings shook. Theron shouted through a message crystal. Kalen. I grabbed it. Here. She closed the inner gate. Outer. Not responding. Of course. I ran. Lysandra followed. Oren shouted something behind us. I didn't listen. We crossed 3 corridors and reached the eastern control balcony. Below, a massive metal gate sealed the avenue. Black fog pressed against it. Beyond the inner glass, Aurelia stood alone beside the mechanical lever. She saw me. Relief. Then the barrier cracked. I placed both hands against the outer control stone. Nothing. Come on. Silver fire. Nothing. Aurelia shouted through the glass. Kalen, I know. The black fog reached her side of the gate. Not through. Around. Small tendrils slipping beneath. She backed away. I hit the stone. Open. Nothing. The ancient voice whispered. Truth. I froze. The 8th trial. Truth. What truth? No answer. The barrier cracked again. Aurelia coughed. Black mist reached her boots. Kalen, I understood. Not a magical password. Truth. Something I had not admitted. Something I was avoiding. I looked at Aurelia through the barrier. The woman who betrayed me. The woman I still loved. The woman I would not take back. I placed my hand on the stone. My name is Kalen Etherian. Nothing. I am the heir. Nothing. I want the crown. That was partly true. Nothing. The barrier screamed. Aurelia dropped to one knee. Damn you, Lysandra shouted. What are you refusing to say? I knew. I hated it. I looked at Aurelia. If she dies, part of me dies with her. The control stone ignited. Silver light exploded. Lysandra inhaled sharply. I continued. I still love her. The entire eastern wall awakened. Silver fire spread. Aurelia looked up. She heard. Of course she heard. Her face broke. I forced the rest out. And I still will not take her back. The eighth tower rang. Silver light erupted beyond the city. The outer seal slammed shut. The black tide crashed against a silver barrier. Stopped. Aurelia collapsed. Alive. I opened the gate. Ran through. Caught her. Again. She coughed against my shoulder. You have terrible timing. I almost laughed. You're alive. I heard you. I know. Both parts. I know. She pulled back. Black dust covered her face. Her eyes were red. I won't use it. What? What you said. I stared. I won't make your love a weapon against you. Something inside me hurt. Good. She nodded. Then let go of me herself. The ancient voice returned. 8 remember. Aurelia heard only my reaction. What now? I looked toward the sky. 8 silver towers. 4 black. No sleeping towers remained. Lucian had corrupted the final 4 while we fought the tide. 12 awakened. But divided. The succession trial had changed. Lysandra came through the gate. Her face was pale. All 12 are awake. Yes. That's never happened divided. What does it mean? A black bell answered. Then a silver one. Then another black. Another silver. The whole kingdom rang. The void gate shook beneath us. Orin's voice came through the crystal. Kalen, what? The gate. A roar swallowed his next words. Then, it opened. Aurelia went still. How far? Orin screamed. Enough. The crystal died. Above the palace. The black fissure split wider. Something enormous moved behind it. Not through. Yet. I felt the entire network. 8 towers answering me. For answering Lucian. A broken crown. A divided kingdom. And beneath everything, the gate. Waiting for a command. King Aldrich appeared on the balcony behind us. He looked at the sky. Then at me. He lowered himself to one knee. Aurelia stared. Father. Morvain arrived behind him. Then Orin. Then 3 commanders. One by one. They knelt. I hated it. Stand up. No one moved. Aldrich looked at me. Save the kingdom. I already told you, not my throne. He removed the Volcrest crown from his head. Placed it on the floor. Let it die. Silence. Aurelia stared at her father. Aldrich continued. Save the people. Behind him. More soldiers knelt. Not to a king. To the only person whose magic the city still obeyed. I looked at the crown on the stone. 300 years of lies. Aurelia had sacrificed us for that object. Aldrich had sacrificed my childhood to protect it. Morvain had sacrificed truth. Lucian had sacrificed lives trying to counterfeit something greater. I kicked it aside. The crown rolled across the floor. Everyone stared. I don't want that. Aldrich looked up. Then what do you want? The answer came easily now. My name. Silver fire spread beneath my feet. My mother's truth. The walls answered. My people's history. The towers rang. And every piece of Etherean your family buried. Aldrich lowered his head. Done. No. I looked at the black fissure. Not done. My sword ignited. Beginning. Aurelia watched me. I turned to the kneeling commanders. Stand. They did. General Theron controls evacuation. Yes. My lord. Don't call me that. The officer blinked. Kalen? Better. I looked at Orin. Open every sealed Etherean archive. All of them. All. Some contain forbidden. Today seems appropriate. He nodded. Lysandra. She smiled. Finally. Can your spell knights hold 2 black towers? 3. Take 3. And the 4th? I looked south. Lucian's presence burned through the network. Personal. Waiting. Mine. Aurelia stepped forward. You're going after him? Yes. Where? The gate. Her face tightened. He'll be there. Yes. And if he wants you there? He does. Then I know. She stopped herself. No order. No plea. Just fear. I looked at her. You stay above. No. Aurelia. I have no magic. Exactly. So he cannot use crown fire through me again. That isn't comforting. She almost smiled. I know the lower palace. So do I. You know the modern passages. I know the old ceremonial tunnels. I frowned. How? My mother showed me when I was a child. Useful. Annoying. I looked at Lysandra. She shrugged. She's right. Everyone is becoming very irritating. Theron arrived. Good. You're back. I looked at Aurelia. You stay behind me. She raised an eyebrow. Mostly me? Entirely you. Progress. We descended. This time there were no debates about who owned the kingdom. The palace shook around us. Crown fire lamps failed. Silver lines replaced them. The lower stairs were filled with injured mages. When they saw me, they moved aside. Some bowed. I ignored it. At the bottom chamber, the void gate no longer looked like a door. The black metal had split by perhaps 3 feet. Darkness existed between the halves. Not empty darkness. Depth. Infinite. Stars that were not stars. Shapes moving too far away to understand. For chains burned black. 8 silver. Lucian stood before them. Alone. The false Etherean crown floated above his head. For black starstones. 7 darkened silver stones. 1 missing. The fragment in my pocket. He smiled. You came. You keep saying that like it's surprising. His eyes moved to Aurelia. You too. She said nothing. That hurts. Good. His smile changed. Then he looked at the 8 silver chains. Impressive. I've had a busy day. You always were efficient. And you always talk too much. Black fire spread around him. I drew my sword. Lucian tilted his head. Do you know why the gate opened? For corrupted towers. No. Lysandra whispered. Kalen. Lucian smiled. Ask your queen. I looked at her. She looked grim. What? The gate should still remain sealed with 8 chains. Lucian applauded once. Exactly. My stomach dropped. Then what opened it? Lucian pointed at me. You. Silence. The 8th trial. Truth. My confession. I still loved Aurelia. He smiled. Strong emotion. Etherean recognition. Full network resonance. Understanding hit. You used the trial. I needed all 12 towers awake. Why? Because the gate doesn't care who controls them. Lysandra's face changed. It only cares that the succession network is active. Yes. Lucian laughed. You completed it for me. Aurelia looked at me. Guilt rose in her face. I stopped it before she spoke. No. She stared. Don't. But this is his choice. Lucian looked disappointed. Very mature. I ignored him. What do you want from the gate? His expression softened. Finally. The truth. Freedom. For what? For magic. He looked around the chamber. You all accept limits like they're laws. He pointed toward Lysandra. Valoria hoards star magic. Toward Aurelia. Volcrest hoarded crown fire. Toward me. Etherean hoarded the void. He smiled. I intend to end the monopoly. Theron stared. By opening a hole full of monsters? Cost. You killed your own men. Cost. You destroyed half the lower city. Cost. Aurelia looked at him. And me? For the first time. Lucian hesitated. Only slightly. Then, cost. Whatever remained between them died. I saw it. Aurelia did too. She nodded. No tears. No anger. Just acceptance. Thank you. Lucian frowned. For what? For finally making it simple. He stared. She stepped back beside me. Not touching. Not asking. Just choosing a side. Too late for us. Not too late for herself. Lucian's expression darkened. He lifted both hands. The 4 black chains began dissolving. The gate opened another inch. A roar came through. Everyone staggered. I felt pressure against my mind. Open. My knees nearly buckled. Lucian laughed. It wants you. I noticed. It has waited 300 years. For what? The king. I looked at him. He smiled. Not me. There it was. His final problem. He could corrupt. Manipulate. Open partially. But the gate wanted Etherean. Me. You can't control it. No. Then this was all for nothing. Not if you do. Why would I? Lucian's smile became terrible. Because I'm going to give you a reason. He snapped his fingers. A black portal opened. Images appeared. The capital. For districts surrounded by Voidborn. Thousands trapped. Children. Families. Soldiers. 1 black tower stood above each district. Lucian raised one hand. Every corrupted tower is tied to a district. My blood went cold. If I destroy the towers, the backlash destroys the districts. Lysandra whispered, gods. Lucian smiled. If you leave them corrupted, the gate continues opening. Aurelia stared. So Kalen chooses. Yes. City or gate. Yes. I looked at the images. He had finally built his perfect trap. Open the gate and try to control it. Or let the capital die. Lucian stepped closer. All your life. People chose for you. His voice lowered. Your mother. Aldrich. Aurelia. He looked at her. Me. Then back to me. Now choose. The void whispered. Open. The trapped people screamed through the portals. My sword shook. 8 silver towers rang. 4 black towers answered. Aurelia whispered, Kaelin. I looked at her. She was terrified, but she didn't tell me what to do. That mattered. Lucian spread his arms. Save them. I closed my eyes. Felt the network. 12 towers. For corrupted. 8 mine. No, not mine. That was the mistake everyone made. Power did not have to be possession. The towers judged. The kingdom remembered. The gate waited. Lucian assumed control was the only answer because control was the only language he understood. Aurelia had made the same mistake. Aldrich too. Maybe Etherean had. I opened my eyes. No. Lucian frowned. No. I won't choose between your 2 options. You don't have a third. That's what Aurelia thought. She looked at me. I raised my sword. Silver fire moved into the floor. Lucian laughed. You cannot cleanse a corrupted tower from here. I know. Then what are you doing? Giving them back. His smile disappeared. What? The ancient voice inside me stirred. For the first time, I didn't wait for instructions. I spoke to it. To whom do the towers belong? Silence. Then, the realm. Not the crown. Not Etherean. The realm. I smiled. Lucian stepped back. What did it say? I drove my sword into the floor. Let's find out. The entire network exploded. Not toward me. Away. Silver light raced through every street. Every district. Every old foundation. The 8 silver towers dimmed. Lysandra gasped. What are you doing? Letting go. Aurelia understood first. Her face changed. The crown authority. Yes. You're releasing it. Yes. Lucian shouted. You fool. The 4 black towers flickered. He grabbed the false crown. Stop. I didn't. 8 silver chains loosened from the gate. Not breaking. Changing. Their light spread outward. Into the city. Into people. Royal mages. Ward stones. Old shrines. Homes built over forgotten Etherean lines. The kingdom itself. The 4 corrupted towers began fighting Lucian. He screamed. No. 1 black starstone cracked. A district portal vanished. Then another. Aurelia stared. The people. I could feel them. Not individuals. Millions of tiny points. The ancient network had never been designed for one king to own. The king was a key, not a master. 300 years of kings had misunderstood that. Maybe even the Ethereans. Lucian's crown shattered another stone. He roared. You're giving away your throne. I looked at him. No. The silver network surged. I'm proving I don't need to own a kingdom to protect it. The 9th tower turned silver. Then the 10th. Lucian screamed. Black veins spread across his face. No, 11th. The final black tower resisted. The district attached to it appeared in the portal. The old quarter. My house. The fruit seller's street. Thousands trapped. Lucian grabbed the last black stone with both hands. If this turns, the gate rejects me. That sounds promising. He poured everything into it. Void fire. Crown fire. His own life. The stone remained black. The network pulled. Silver against darkness. Aurelia stepped toward me. What does it need? I don't know. Lucian laughed through blood. There it is. The last tower shook. The ancient voice whispered, sacrifice. I froze. Lysandra saw it. What? The last trial. Her face went pale. Sacrifice. Aurelia immediately said, no. I looked at her. She caught herself. Then whispered, sorry. Lucian smiled. Finally. He spread his arms. The king dies. I felt the gate. The tower. The network. Sacrifice. Everyone assumed blood. Death. Because power always demanded a body in the stories. But the towers had already taught me something. Judgment wasn't execution. Truth wasn't confession alone. Maybe sacrifice wasn't death. I looked at the false crown. At Lucian. At the throne waiting above. At every reason I had to want all of it. My mother's murder. My stolen name. My broken marriage. The kingdom that applauded when Aurelia stripped me. The people who knelt only when they needed me. I understood. The thing I had been carrying since the Hall of Crowns. Revenge. Not justice. Revenge. I wanted Aurelia to see me crowned. I wanted Morvain to kneel. I wanted Aldrich to watch his dynasty erased. I wanted every noble who laughed to realize what they had lost. The desire had kept me moving. The towers knew. And the last one would not wake while I needed the crown to punish them. Lysandra whispered, Kaelin? I pulled my sword from the floor. Silver fire weakened. Lucian laughed. You can't do it. He thought I meant death. I looked at Aurelia. She looked afraid. Not that I would leave her. That I would lose myself. I thought of the Hall of Crowns. Her hand and Lucien's. My ring on the floor. The extraction. I let the memory hurt. Then I let it go. Not forgiveness. Never that. A choice. I don't need her regret. Aurelia's eyes widened. The tower flickered. Lucien stopped smiling. I don't need Aldrich's humiliation. Silver entered the black flame. I don't need Morvaine's fear. More. I don't need the people who laugh to love me. The tower shook violently. The ancient voice asked, and the crown? I looked toward the ceiling. The throne. The title. Everything everyone assumed I wanted. I answered, if the kingdom needs me to wear it, I will. Silver fire flooded the chamber. But I don't need it to prove they were wrong. The 12th tower ignited. Pure silver. Lucien screamed. All 4 remaining black starstones shattered. The false crown exploded. A shockwave threw us across the chamber. The gate slammed halfway shut. Lucien hit the wall. Black fire poured from his body. The 12 towers rang together. Once, the sound crossed the kingdom. Every window trembled. Every spell paused. Every person in Valeria looked toward the sky. 12 silver beams formed a circle above the capital. At their center, something appeared. A crown. Not metal. Stars. Silver fire. The Etherean crown. Real. Lucien stared upward. No. The ancient voice filled the chamber. Not inside my mind. Everywhere. 12 remember. The gate chains turned silver. 12 judge. Lucien crawled toward the broken false crown. No. The blood is worthy. Aurelia stared at me. Lysandra lowered her head. Theron slowly smiled. The final words shook the city. The crown returns. The silver crown descended through stone as if the palace did not exist. It stopped above me. Lucien screamed. Don't. I looked at him. For the first time. He looked small. Not a commander. Not a rival. Not the man Aurelia chose. Just someone who had spent years trying to steal power that never wanted him. The crown descended. Silver fire touched my head. And the entire kingdom bowed. Not because I ordered it. Because every active magical structure simultaneously recognized one name. Kalen Yelyr Etherean. Lucien stared. Hatred filled his face. Then he smiled. That worried me. You think this ends it? Black veins reached his eyes. No. He grabbed a shard of the false crown and drove it into his own chest. Aurelia screamed. Void energy erupted. The gate opened again. Wider than before. Something reached through. A hand. Enormous. Made of darkness. Lucien laughed while his body began breaking apart. If I cannot wear your crown, the void entered him. His bones twisted. Armor shattered. His voice became something else. Then I'll become the thing your crown was built to fear. The silver chain screamed. Lysandra raised her sword. Theron stepped beside me. Aurelia backed away. I looked at the creature Lucien was becoming. The crown above me burned brighter. 12 towers answered. The real war had finally begun. And this time, no one in the kingdom was asking Princess Aurelia what to do. They were waiting for me. Lucien stopped looking human before the second bell rang. The void entered him through the broken crown shard and spread like ink through water. His armor split first, then his skin. Black fire poured through the cracks without burning him. His right arm lengthened. His fingers became claws. The whites of his eyes vanished. Still, somewhere inside the thing standing before us. Lucien smiled. You wanted a king, he said. His voice came from several places at once. I'll give you something greater. The void gate opened another foot. The silver chain screamed. Lysandra raised both hands. Star magic exploded across the chamber. Lucien took the blast directly. He moved backward half a step, then laughed. Queen Lysandra. Black fire struck her. I crossed the distance before it reached her. The Etherean crown reacted. A silver wall appeared. Void fire hit it. The entire chamber shook. Lysandra stared at me. Useful crown. I was hoping for something less dramatic. Wrong bloodline. Theron shouted from behind us. More are coming. Voidborn crawled through the widening gate. 10, 20, 30. Royal soldiers flooded the corridor behind Theron. Orin stood among them. So did Aurelia. I turned sharply. I told you to stay above. No. Of course. Lucien laughed. Still giving her orders she ignores. Aurelia drew a plain steel sword. She had no crown fire. No royal magic. Nothing except skill. She looked at Lucien. That used to annoy him. What? My ignoring orders? She smiled without humor. Now I think he expects it. Lucien's expression twisted. You think standing beside him now changes what you did? No. That answer struck him harder than anger. Aurelia continued, I am not here for forgiveness. Then why are you here? To help kill you. Theron laughed. Finally, something everyone agrees on. The Voidborn attacked. The chamber became war. Theron met the first line. Royal soldiers formed around him. Lysandra summoned star spears. Orin used the old Etherean runes now visible across the walls. Aurelia fought without magic. And I went for Lucian. Our blades met. Mine was silver. His was made of condensed darkness. The impact cracked the floor. You cannot beat the void. Lucian snarled. I don't need to. You think the crown makes you special? No. Then what makes you king? I drove him backward. The fact that I don't need you to call me one. His face twisted. He struck harder. Black fire entered my shoulder. Pain exploded. The crown reacted. Silver flames burned the void out. Lucian saw it. His expression changed. That should have corrupted you. Disappointed? No. He smiled again. Interested. He opened his hand. The gate responded. A wave of black energy hit me. The world disappeared. I stood in darkness. No chamber. No soldiers. No crown. Only stars. Then my mother appeared. Elora. Not as I remembered her. Armor. Black blade. Silver eyes. I stopped breathing. Mother? She smiled. You grew tall. My throat closed. I knew it wasn't real. Or maybe it was. The void liked memory. Etherean blood liked memory too. Are you dead? Very. I almost laughed. That sounded like her. She stepped closer. You awakened all 12. Yes. I hoped you wouldn't. That surprised me. Why? Because once the crown returns, the gate recognizes you fully. So Lucian was right. About one thing. She looked toward the stars. Our blood and the void are connected. How? The first Etherean king did not discover the gate. She looked back at me. He came through it. Silence. What? Our bloodline is not entirely of this world. The stars changed. I saw people stepping through black light centuries ago. Silver-eyed. Carrying starstone. They fled something worse than themselves. Elora said. They built the towers to keep the passage closed. And became kings. Eventually. Why? Because controlling the gate meant controlling the ley network. I laughed bitterly. So everyone built a throne around a lock. Yes. And forgot it was a lock. Yes. That felt painfully believable. What happened to Aaron? He tried to close the connection permanently. Cashin killed him. Before he finished. Then why did history say Aaron went mad? Because truth is difficult to inherit. I looked at her. And me? You are the first fully awakened heir since Aaron. Why me? Because I failed. I shook my head. No. I hid you. To save me. I let them seal you. You were forced. I believed I could undo it later. Her face filled with regret. I ran out of later. That sentence hit me harder than anything Lucian had done. I stepped closer. Did Aldrich order your death? No. The answer surprised me. His counsel wanted me weakened. And the physician? Changed the dosage. Why? He served Severin. My blood went cold. Archprelate Severin. Lucian's sponsor. The Void Scholar. So Lucian's side killed you. Severin's side. Why? To make sure no one remained who could teach you to resist the gate. Everything connected. My mother's death. My false identity. Crown fire. Lucian. The towers. I looked at Elora. Why didn't you tell me? You were a child. And later? I died. Fair. The stars began fading. Wait. She smiled sadly. You always hated goodbyes. What do I do? Her expression became serious. The crown will offer you control. Over the gate. Over everything connected to it. Can I close it? Yes. How? By taking the void into yourself. I stared. That sounds terrible. It is. Will I survive? Maybe. Excellent. And if I don't? The gate closes. I looked away. Sacrifice. Again. Elora touched my face. Her hand felt warm. You already passed that trial. This seems more literal. It is. I almost smiled. Then she said, there is another way. Of course. What? Let the void choose a false king. Lucian. I understood. He already took corrupted Etherean magic. Yes. The false crown. Yes. And the shard. Yes. He thinks he's becoming stronger. He is. But he's also becoming compatible. Elora nodded. Compatible enough to carry what you reject. I looked toward the darkness. So I let him take it. No. Her eyes became hard. You make him choose it. The vision shattered. I returned to the chamber. Lucian's blade was inches from my throat. I moved. Too late. It cut across my chest. Blood. Aurelia shouted. I kicked Lucian away. Everything returned at once. Noise. Fire. Death. Lysandra destroying Voidborn. Theron bleeding from his forehead. Orin screaming commands. The gate widening. Lucian smiled. You saw her. I froze. You can tell? The void shows us what we want. That wasn't the void. His smile vanished. Good. I understood now. Lucian did not want the gate opened because he served something inside. He wanted the power. He believed the void was another resource. Another crown fire. Another title to steal. He had built his entire life around taking things from other people. Aurelia. My position. My seal. My crown. Now the void. That was the weakness. Not his magic. His hunger. I raised my sword. Lucian. He attacked. I blocked. Do you know what the crown can actually do? He hesitated. Tiny. Enough. I smiled. You don't. He snarled. You think I care? Yes. I let the silver crown brighten. Lucian's eyes followed it. The 12 towers don't only control the gate. He struck again. I moved back. They control every ley line in the kingdom. Liar. I opened one hand. The chamber floor ignited. Silver fire moved beneath Lucian. His expression changed. I continued. Aaron was not trying to destroy the void. What was he doing? Taking control. A lie. Mostly. Lucian stared. I could see desire fighting suspicion. What kind of control? Everything. Lysandra looked at me. She understood. Did not interrupt. I lowered my sword slightly. The gate is not a prison. Lucian's breathing changed. What is it? A source. That was enough. His eyes became hungry. Kaelin. Aurelia whispered. She thought I was losing myself. I looked at her. Trust me. I didn't say it. Once. Those words would have been complicated between us. Now she simply nodded. Lucian extended one hand toward the gate. Black energy entered his arm. He smiled. You feel it too. Yes. That part was true. It wants a king. Yes. Also true. And you think that's you. His face twisted. I earned this. There. Everything Lucian believed. I crossed the eastern wastelands. He stepped toward the gate. I gave 6 years to Severin. Another step. I survived rituals that killed stronger men. Black fire rose. I made Aurelia choose me. Her face hardened. I broke your seal. Another step. I woke your blood. His body changed further. I rebuilt the crown. I let him speak. Let hunger become certainty. Lucian opened both arms. I made you king. I looked at him. Then take your reward. The void gate opened. Not wider. Deeper. I released my claim. Not to the crown. To the void. For 1 second. I felt everything. The ancient darkness. The connection in my blood. The temptation. Power without limit. A way to destroy anyone who ever hurt me. Then I pushed it away. Toward Lucian. His smile became triumph. Black energy hit him. He screamed. Not pain. Pleasure. At first. Yes. The void poured in. More. More. His body expanded. Black wings tore from his back. The false crown fragments inside him glowed. He laughed. I knew it. I tightened my grip on the true crown. The ancient voice spoke. Choice witnessed. Lucian stopped laughing. What? Silver chains wrapped around the gate. Not around the void. Around him. His eyes widened. No. I looked at him. You wanted everything. The chains tightened. You wanted Aurelia because she belonged to someone else. No. You wanted my title because it was mine. Black cracks spread across his body. My magic. Another chain. My crown. Another. And now this. The void pulled. Lucian screamed. Stop. You said you earned it. His claws tore at the floor. No. You said you wanted freedom. The gate dragged him backward. Aurelia watched silently. Lucian reached toward her. Aurelia, she didn't move. Help me. No answer. You loved me. Her face remained still. Once. Lucian's expression broke. Not because of the void. Because she meant it. He reached toward me. Kaelin, I looked at him. Ask your new kingdom. His body crossed the threshold. The void seized him. For 1 second. Lucian Dreven became something enormous. Darkness. Fire. A crown of broken stars. Then the silver chain snapped shut. The gate slammed closed. Lucian vanished. Silence. The Voidborn collapsed into ash. Black fire disappeared. Every corrupted rune went dark. The chamber stopped shaking. I stood there, waiting. Nothing. Then the 12 towers rang. One by one. Silver. The crown above me changed. No longer flame. Metal formed. Dark silver. 12 starstones. The true Etherean crown. Lysandra lowered her sword. Theron sat heavily on the floor. Is it over? I looked at the gate. No knocking. That's encouraging. Oren laughed, then cried. Possibly both. Aurelia stood several feet away. Blood covered one arm. She looked exhausted. Human. She looked at the closed gate. Lucien? Gone. Dead. I don't know. She nodded. That answer was enough. Then the gate spoke one final time. Not the void. Aaron. A memory preserved in stone. The crown is not ownership. Silver writing appeared across the door. The king is not master. Another line. Power is held only until the realm no longer needs it. I stared. 300 years. Volcrest had stolen the throne. Etherian had misunderstood it before them. Everyone wanted to own the kingdom. The old crown had been designed to prevent exactly that. Lysandra stood beside me. What does it say? I translated. She smiled. Your ancestors were smarter than their descendants. Low standard. Theron stood. Does this mean you're king? Everyone looked at me. Aurelia too. The crown hovered above my head. Waiting. I thought of my mother. You do not need to decide tonight what it means. Lysandra had said that days ago. Now I knew. I reached up, took the crown in both hands, and did not put it on. Not yet. Oren stared. But the towers can wait. Theron grinned. Lysandra nodded. Aurelia looked at me. Not disappointed. Not afraid. Proud. That hurt differently. We climbed toward daylight. Halfway up the stairs. Aurelia stopped. Kaelin. I turned. She held something. My wedding ring. I stared. You lied. What? You said you didn't keep it. I reached into my coat. My hand stopped. Empty drawer. Of course. She must have found it when she came to Vare House. Aurelia looked at the engraving. Until stars fall. I won't ask again. I know. She placed the ring in my hand. It belongs to you. No. I closed her fingers around it. It belonged to us. Her eyes filled. And us is over. A pause. Then she nodded. Yes. For the first time. She said it without trying to change the answer. She put the ring away. We continued upward. When we emerged into the ruined palace courtyard, thousands of people were waiting. Soldiers, mages, servants, nobles, civilians. King Aldrich stood at the front. No crown. Morvain beside him. No ceremonial robes. The sky had cleared. 12 silver towers burned around Valeria. Everyone looked at the crown in my hands. Then Aldrich knelt. One by one. The others followed. I stared at them. Aurelia remained standing. So did Lysandra. Good. I looked across the crowd. 300 years of stolen history. 7 years of my life. All pointing toward this moment. Aldrich lowered his head. Kaelin Eller Etherian. His voice carried across the courtyard. The regency of House Volcrest is ended. Silence. I surrender the throne held by my family. Aurelia closed her eyes. Aldrich continued. To the bloodline from which it was taken. Everyone waited. I looked at the crown. Then at the people. I finally understood the last lesson. The throne was mine. That did not mean the kingdom was. I raised the crown. Stand. No one moved. I smiled slightly. That was an order. Slowly. Thousands stood. And for the first time in 300 years, Valeria had no Volcrest king. Not yet an Etherian king either. Just a man holding a crown. And a kingdom waiting to see what he would do with it. 3 months later, I returned to the Hall of Crowns. This time, no one could decide what to call it. The Hall of Crowns had been a Volcrest name. The original Etherian records called it the Hall of Stars. Morvain proposed renaming it the Hall of Restoration. Theron proposed the Great Room, where everyone finally admitted Kaelin was right. His proposal received 7 military votes. I rejected all 3. For now, it remained the Hall of Crowns. Some scars did not need immediate renovation. The room had been rebuilt. Mostly, the Volcrest phoenixes were gone. Not destroyed. Moved to a historical gallery. The 12-star Etherian crest now hung behind the central dais. Foreign delegations filled the galleries. Valorian spell knights stood beside Valerian officers. Representatives of the 12 houses occupied the front rows. No one sat on the throne. Not yet. I waited behind the great bronze doors. Theron adjusted the collar of my coat. I slapped his hand away. You're worse than a servant. Servants are afraid of you. You aren't. Not remotely. Poor judgment. 20 years of evidence. Lysandra stood nearby wearing midnight blue ceremonial armor. No gown. No crown. Her own crown remained in Valoria. You're nervous, she said. No. Your left hand keeps moving. I looked down. It did. Old injury. Liar. Theron smiled. I like her. I've noticed. The doors remained closed. Beyond them waited nearly 1,000 people. 3 months earlier, I had stood in that hall expecting to be named Prince Consort. Instead, Aurelia chose Lucien. Today, I looked at the crown on the table. The real Etherean crown. 12 starstones. Dark silver. Heavy. I still had not worn it. The 12 houses had argued for weeks. Some wanted immediate restoration. Others wanted elections for a royal council. Lysandra suggested combining both. I surprised everyone by agreeing. The old Etherean model had never been absolute monarchy. The 12 towers were not simply weapons. They were part of a magical covenant between the crown and the realm. So we rebuilt that too. A king, a council, public charters, limits. Theron called it making it harder for future idiots. Accurate. Orin entered. It's time. I looked at him. He seemed healthier now. Guilt remained. He had testified publicly about the crown fire binding. So had Aldrich. So had Morvain. The confession nearly broke the kingdom. Then it did something unexpected. It stabilized it. People handled ugly truth better than rulers expected. Aldrich abdicated formally. He no longer used king. He lived under guarded retirement at Eastmere and spent most days dictating a complete record of Volcrest history. Morvain resigned. A royal tribunal later found him guilty of illegal magical containment and destruction of hereditary records. I refused execution. He was sentenced to 20 years restoring archives he helped erase. Theron thought the irony beautiful. Aurelia, that was more complicated. Is she here? I asked. Orin nodded. Back row. Of course. She had refused every seat offered near the front. 3 months ago, she had been heir to the throne. Today, legally, she was Aurelia Volcrest. No princess, no succession claim, no royal authority. She retained one small estate inherited through her mother. I had not taken it. Justice did not require pettiness. At least not every day. Lysandra watched me. You can ask her to leave. No. You can ask her to sit closer. No. Good. I looked at her. Good means you're less confused than last month. I was never confused. You spent 2 hours staring at an old wedding ring. Theron laughed. Traitor. I glared. Lysandra smiled. Our relationship had changed. Slowly. No sudden romance. No convenient queen waiting to replace the princess. She returned to Valoria twice during the rebuilding. Each time, she came back. We fought about trade, tower access, military borders. She beat me at chess 13 times. I won twice. Theron claimed both victories were pity. They were not. Probably. People whispered that Lysandra would become Etherean's queen. She threatened to freeze the next diplomat who asked. I appreciated that. The bronze doors opened. Noise disappeared. I entered. No armor. No sword. Only a dark silver coat bearing the 12-star crest. The crown remained in Orin's hands behind me. I walked the same path Lucien once walked. Past the same nobles. Toward the same dais. I saw Aurelia immediately. Back row. Simple dark green dress. No jewels. Her hair loose. She looked at me. No smile. No tears. Just watched. I kept walking. The first time I stood here, I had looked up at her. Today, she looked up at me. The symmetry was almost cruel. I reached the dais. Lysandra stood to my right. Theron to my left. Orin carried the crown forward. The 12 houses approached one by one. Each placed a hand over the heart. Not kneeling. I had changed that. An oath between ruler and realm should not begin with humiliation. House Marrow. House Valis. House Thorn. House Edrin. 12. Then representatives of the common districts. Mages. Soldiers. Merchants. Farmers. The old Etherean ceremony had included them. Volcrest removed that part centuries ago. I restored it. Orin opened the ancient book. Kalen Eller Etherean. I faced the hall. Do you accept stewardship of the 12 towers? Yes. Do you accept defense of the Void Gate? Yes. Do you accept the limits of the Crown Charter? Yes. A few old nobles looked uncomfortable. Excellent. Do you accept the crown of Etherean? Not as owner of the realm, but as its sworn keeper? There it was. The real vow. I thought of Lucien, Aldrich, Aaron, my mother, Aurelia, everyone who had confused holding power with owning people. Yes. Orin lifted the crown, placed it on my head. The 12 towers rang. Silver light entered through every window. No explosion, no dramatic storm, just warmth. The hall exhaled. Orin stepped back. Then the crown recognizes Kalen Eller Etherian, first king of the restored line. The hall answered, not with kneeling, with 12 strikes of staffs against stone. Etherian tradition. Boom, boom, boom. By the 12th, I finally believed it. Not that I was king, that I had survived long enough to choose what kind. The ceremony lasted another hour. Then the hall emptied. Foreign rulers departed. Counselors escaped toward wine. Theron disappeared with 3 generals. Lysandra remained beside me. You didn't faint. Was that expected? 50-50. Your confidence is inspiring. She smiled, then looked toward the doorway. She waited. I knew. Aurelia stood there, alone. Lysandra looked at me. Do you want me to stay? No. She nodded. No jealousy. No territorial gesture. That was one reason I trusted her. She walked away. Aurelia approached slowly. She stopped at the bottom of the dais. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she looked at the crown. It suits you. It's heavy. She almost smiled. You always complained about ceremonial armor too. That was also heavy. Silence. Aurelia looked around the hall. I dreamed about this room when I was a child. I know. I imagined my father placing the crown on me. I said nothing. I imagined you beside me too. That surprised me. Even before we married? Not before. A faint smile. I'm not rewriting history that badly. Good. She looked toward the place where Lucien once stood. I still dream about that night. So do I. Her eyes met mine. I don't expect that to stop. No. She nodded. Then, if I had chosen you that night, I knew the question before she finished. Her voice trembled anyway. Would I be standing beside you now? There it was. The question we had been walking toward for months. I stepped down from the throne dais. You did choose that night. Aurelia. Her eyes filled. You chose. A pause. You just didn't choose me. She looked down. I know. No defense. No excuse. I appreciated that more than she would ever know. She breathed slowly. I used to think losing the throne was punishment. I waited. Then I thought losing my magic was punishment. She looked at me. It wasn't. What was? Understanding why you left. Silence. That took longer. Yes. I kept thinking if I understood Lucien, or my father, or the council, then somehow I could find a version where what I did became less mine. I said nothing. There isn't one. No. She nodded. I know. The words no longer annoyed me. They sounded earned now. Aurelia reached into her pocket. The wedding ring. Still. She held it between 2 fingers. I brought this because I thought I should return it. You already tried. Yes. And I couldn't. I almost smiled. Then keep it. Her eyes lifted. Why? It was 7 years. That sounds sentimental. I am occasionally weak. She laughed quietly. The sound hurt. Not sharply anymore. An old scar. She closed her hand around the ring. Did you ever hate me? Yes. Her face tightened. For how long? I don't know. Do you still? No. Hope appeared. I stopped it gently. That does not mean what you want it to mean. Her smile became sad. I know. There. No argument. She looked toward Lysandra in the distant corridor. Is there something between you? Maybe. Aurelia nodded. That was all. No jealousy. No claim. She had lost the right and finally understood that. She is good for you. That's an annoyingly mature thing to say. I've had a difficult education. I laughed. She smiled. For a second. We were younger. Before crowns. Before fear. Before Lucien. Then the second passed. Aurelia looked at me. Did you ever love me? Yes. No hesitation? No. Tears filled her eyes. More than I deserved? I remembered saying that. Probably. She laughed through the tears. And now? I thought carefully. Not because I didn't know. Because she deserved the exact truth. Now I know loving someone and belonging to them are different things. She closed her eyes. When she opened them, she looked calmer. I think I spent my whole life confusing those two. Probably. Still cruel. Consistent. She nodded. Then stepped backward. I won't come again unless invited. Aurelia. She stopped. You don't have to disappear. Her face changed. I continued. You helped save the Eastern District. That doesn't erase anything. No. You testified against your own family. Yes. You lost your magic. Also yes. You're allowed to build a life after making terrible choices. She stared. Is that forgiveness? No. She almost smiled. Of course not. It is permission you don't need. That landed. Her eyes softened. Thank you. She turned. Walked toward the doors. I watched. Not wishing she would come back. Not wishing she would stay. Just watching the end of something that had once been my entire life. At the doors, she looked over her shoulder. Kaelin, yes? I hope you become better than every king who came before you. I smiled. Low standard. She laughed once, then left. This time, I did not follow. 6 months later, the Hall of Crowns became the Hall of Stars. Theron's naming proposal was officially rejected. He complained for weeks. Aldrich's historical confession became required reading in royal schools. Morvain discovered archive restoration involved enormous amounts of dust. I visited once specifically to enjoy that. Aurelia traveled east. Not exile. Her choice. She helped rebuild the districts damaged by the Void Tide. Letters occasionally arrived. Short. Practical. No please. I answered some. Not all. That was enough. Queen Lysandra returned to Veloria, then returned to Valeria, then left again, then returned. Our diplomats became tired of pretending the visits were entirely political. One evening, we stood on the highest balcony of the first awakened tower, the same tower that lit when Aurelia stripped crown fire from my body. 12 silver towers burned across the horizon. Lysandra leaned against the stone. Do you ever think about what would have happened if Aurelia hadn't removed the seal? Yes. And I'd probably still be royal guardian. Married? Yes. Happy? I thought. I don't know. She nodded. The correct answer. What would you have said? That happiness built on a hidden cage is still a cage. I looked at her. You practice those lines? Constantly. I laughed. Below us. Valeria glowed. Not mine. That distinction mattered. My kingdom to protect, not possess. The void gate remained sealed. The crown did not speak often anymore. The ancient voice had grown quiet after the restoration. Sometimes I missed it. Mostly I appreciated the silence. Lysandra looked toward me. Your mother would be proud. I stared at the horizon. You can't know that. No. She smiled. But I think she would. Maybe. The wind moved across the tower. I looked at the silver lines beneath my hand. The same magic Aurelia thought she had stripped from me. No, that wasn't right. She did strip something. She took the crown fire, the title, the marriage, the identity I had built around serving her. And in doing so, she revealed everything underneath. Not destiny, not inevitability, possibility. Blood did not make me king. Lucian taught me that. Aldrich taught me that. Aurelia taught me that. Choice did. The first night, in the Hall of Crowns, Aurelia stood above me and said, everything the crown gave you has now been returned. She had been right, just not in the way she believed. The false crown returned to Valcrest. My false name returned to history. My borrowed title returned to Lucian. My marriage returned to memory. And underneath all of it remained one thing no princess, counsel, king, or lover had ever given me. Myself. The tower rang once. Lysandra looked up. What was that? I smiled. Nothing. You're terrible at lying. I'm king now. That doesn't improve your lies. Disrespectful. Invade Veloria. Too cold. She laughed. We stood beneath the stars. No cheering court. No kneeling nobles. No stolen magic. No woman beside me because prophecy demanded it. Just two people looking over a kingdom that had nearly destroyed itself, deciding who owned whom. I thought of Aurelia one last time. Not with anger. Not longing. Gratitude would have been too generous. Perhaps acceptance. She had chosen Lucian. And that choice had ended the life I thought I wanted. It had also forced me to discover the life buried beneath it. The 12 towers burned brighter. Far below, the restored Etherean crest glowed over the city gates. 300 years after the last true heir disappeared, the bloodline had returned. But that was not the part one wanted history to remember. Not that I inherited the crown. Not that I defeated Lucian. Not that a queen knelt when she recognized my name. I wanted them to remember something simpler. A princess once took everything she believed made me powerful. And when she was finished, I finally learned none of it ever had.